What's up? What's up?
Yo.
You guys want to give this a shot?
He does.
Okay, cool. You guys can do it together. All right, cool. So, first question. There's 2 questions. So, this is the first one. So, I have 3 box trucks. They're completely sealed. They're all on a level surface, and they all have an apple hanging from a string. The only difference between these 3 box trucks is that one is at rest, one is accelerating forward, and one is accelerating in reverse. So, out of these 3, which one is at rest?
I say B is at rest.
Yes. Yes. Why would you say B?
Because the apple is stationary?
Yeah.
There's no
Okay.
movement in the
Yeah.
apple.
Okay. Pretty easy. So, which one's accelerating forward?
A is accelerating forward.
How do you know A is accelerating forward?
Because if the truck was to move forward, the air in the truck would move backward, and the apple would follow along with it since it's on a string.
So I wouldn't necessarily say that air moves back. I would say that air resists the upwards push. So just like the apple is going to resist that upwards motion, the apple is just going to stay in this position in space, and then the whole truck is going to move forward. And the air inside is also going to move forward, but the air is not dense enough to push the apple. So
it's just because it was stationary, right? So it's trying to stay in the same position it was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you guys got it. You guys got it. So second question. Same thing, but instead of an apple is a helium balloon. Helium balloon to be exact. So out of these 3, which one is at rest?
I'm gonna go with B again.
Yes, and it's for the same reason as the first, because there's no motion, right? Which one's accelerating forward?
I'm gonna have to go with A again.
You?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with it again.
Okay. This one's actually C, and there's 2 reasons why it's C. I'm gonna explain.
Okay.
So the first reason is air is more dense than helium. Right, that's the first reason. The second reason is a force. So when I applied a force in this direction, in other words, the truck accelerated in this direction, all of the air that's inside of the truck is also being forced or pushed in that same direction through space. And because air is more dense than helium, is able to basically push the balloon along with it. You know, and we'll get the opposite effect if it goes in reverse. Because the air is being pushed this way now, the helium is being dragged along with it as well because it's less dense. Again,
Fifth grader really know this?
oh, if you explain it to them and then you ask them the question again, it's pretty basic. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, but wouldn't that be for anybody?
Yeah, exactly. This is pretty fundamental physics.
Yeah.
For example, look, let me show you this now. I recreated this experiment inside of a cargo van, and I guarantee you guys are gonna get it right.
I want to see the balloon one.
Here we go. So here's a helium balloon and an apple inside of a cargo van. What direction would you bet I accelerated?
We're going that way.
Yeah,
Yes,
forward.
exactly. You guys will be correct again, because that's physics. You get displacement when there's a force present, and the helium balloon will always get pushed in the same direction that the air is being pushed.
The
Right?
balloon one is actually really interesting. Because I was thinking, like, when you're walking around with the balloon,
It goes back.
It goes back. You want to know why? It's because the air outside is able to resist the balloon. But when you're inside the container, though, the air is moving along with the container. That when you're walking outside here, the air's not moving with you.
We're moving against
You're
it.
moving against it because air's more
Yeah.
dense. It's able to hold it back.
Yeah.
But inside a balloon, the air's moving with it,
Yeah.
so the air's able to push
Wait,
it
you
forward.
have it right there?
Yes. So I wanted to show you this experiment in real life. So this is a buoyant object, just like the balloon, but instead of air, helium is water.
Water.
Water and air. So again, if I apply a force in this direction, what direction will the ball go? Yes. It goes that way because the air is able to push it along with it. Okay, one last question before you guys go. If I have a helium balloon here on Earth, right?
Yeah.
And I release it, what direction does it go?
it would go up.
Yes, it goes up. So there's 2 reasons why it goes up. Why do you guys think it goes up?
Because the helium is less dense than the air.
That's the first reason. What's the second?
What's the second reason?
Yeah, you need 2 reasons. There's two causes.
I guess gravity isn't strong enough to pull it back down.
Okay, gravity. It is gravity. So I'm gonna tell you. So in this scenario, the truck generated the force to be able to push the air, right? To be able to push the helium.
Yeah.
The force here on Earth is actually a pushing force of the Earth. So gravity is a pushing force of the Earth, not a pulling force. So the Earth right now is pushing up against you. It's not pulling you down. So that upwards push of the Earth is what's pushing up the air as well, and that's why helium balloons get pushed up, because we're literally moving up through space right now. So the Earth is not pulling you down; it's pushing you up. Yes. So I don't know if you guys knew, gravity as a pulling force is just a theory. So and that means they never physically measured or detected a pulling force of gravity.
Wait, so then what's keeping me
Yes.
down on the ground?
So when I release this object, right, most people think that it got to accelerate down to the Earth, right? But in reality, the reason why you're stuck to the Earth is because the Earth is pushing up against you. So the Earth is not pulling you down towards it. It's the Earth pushing up, constantly pushing up against you. So
And I'm pushing against the Earth also?
you're pushing against the Earth due to inertia. So your body has inertia. So it's resisting the upwards push because you have mass. But that's why we're stuck to the earth, because there's a constant upwards push. And because of your mass is resisting that push, that's why we're stuck to it. So your body wants to stay motionless, and the earth is constantly pushing up like that. So when I release this object into free fall, the object doesn't accelerate down to the earth. It's the earth and everything else that comes up to meet the object. It only looks like that went down because we're also moving up right now. So that's the reality. That's what physics shows, that there's an upwards push of the earth, and buoyancy shows us that. So, yes.
If the earth is, if the earth is always pushing upwards.
Yes.
That would mean the earth is traveling in a certain direction, right?
Yeah, so here's my next question. He's going to literally get into that point you're about to make. Okay. So you guys believe the earth is a ball, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's a sphere.
It's a sphere, right? Oh, let me wait for it. Okay, before I get into the subject...
It's time to learn. It's time to learn.
Okay, I'll go over this for them real quick, if you don't mind. Real quick, and that way you can all be in the same page. So 3 very easy questions here.
Yes.
3 box trucks, completely sealed, all on a level surface.
Hey, stop talking. Lock in.
Yeah. So they all have an apple hanging from a string,
okay.
Right? They're all on a level surface and completely sealed. The only difference between these 3 is that one is at rest, one is accelerating forward, and one is accelerating in reverse.
Okay.
So which one's at rest from these 3?
B.
B, yes. What would you say, B? Do you guys agree?
I do.
Yeah. Yes. Why would you guys say B?
Oh, I was watching a video on this. The guy put a balloon in the...
Yeah, there's no motion of the apple. There's not swinging.
Swear. Yeah.
Right? Pretty easy. Which one's accelerating forward?
A. No, it's a trick. It's B. It's always B because it's relative to the...
No, I'm talking about acceleration. You're talking about a constant force. Like if I was moving at a constant, then they would stay vertical. But I'm talking about initial acceleration. So if I was accelerating a truck right now, which one it shows the acceleration forward?
I still think it's B.
Did you break?
Am I mistaken? Okay, I swear I was watching a video on this on YouTube.
C is reverse. A is forward. Do you agree or disagree?
No, I agree.
You agree? Do you guys agree or disagree? A is accelerating forward.
What the hell?
I can't believe you guys didn't get this one. Nobody gets this one wrong. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, okay. This next one might be a little harder for you guys too then. Okay, this next one, instead of an apple, is a helium balloon.
This is the one you
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. I think it's always B.
No, it's not.
What?
So B is at rest, and this one, C is accelerating forward, and A is accelerating in reverse. So you get the opposite effect. This one's accelerating forward, it swings back, but with the helium balloon. So,
how does that work?
So the reason why that works, yeah, there's a density difference between the air inside of the truck and the helium balloon, right? Obviously,
Yes.
the air is more dense.
Yes.
So when you accelerate forward in this scenario, all of the air that's inside of the truck is also being pushed forward.
Okay.
And because air is...
experience is the same.
Yes, but
Okay.
but because air is more dense than helium, is able to push the helium balloon in the same direction. It's also being pushed forward, because air is more dense. With the apple, however, the air wasn't dense enough to push the apple forward, so the apple just gets left behind. Yes, so you get the opposite effect with a buoyant object. The buoyant object always gets pushed forward in the direction of the force. Yes.
Yeah.
So here, let me show you guys this experiment I did in a cargo van. I just want to make sure you guys get it. So there's a helium balloon and an apple inside of a cargo van. What direction would you bet I accelerated? To the right or to the left?
I just assume you went to the right, yeah.
Yeah, it's obvious because that's the direction the buoyant object went. That shows you the air was pushed forward as well because the air was able to push the helium balloon, right?
Yeah.
So again, buoyancy always follows the direction of the force, right? So if I have a helium balloon here on Earth and I release it, what direction does it go?
Go up.
Why does it go up? You think?
Because it's not
Less dense than that.
Yeah.
Less dense than air? Yes, there's another reason why it goes up. Why do you think it goes up?
There's another reason?
Yes, there's another reason. So you can have a dent.
I was thinking Bernoulli's, but that has to do with density, no?
No, so it's a force. So you need a force. So in this scenario, the truck generated the force to be able to push the air in this direction, and then the air was able to push the helium, right? But if I go the opposite direction, and the air gets pushed in the opposite, then the helium goes in the opposite direction.
Gravity is less than like the buoyant.
Yes. So the force of gravity was pushing up the air, which is pushing up the helium. But here's the thing. Gravity as a pulling force has never been measured or detected because real force of gravity is a pushing force of the earth. So the earth right now is pushing up against you. It's not pulling you down. Have you heard of the normal force?
Yeah, normal.
Yes, the normal force of the earth is the only real force that exists. Because the pulling force of the earth has never been measured or detected. So when you release an object into free fall like this, everybody believes that there's a force that accelerates this down to the earth, right? When I release it. But in reality, when I release this into free fall, it's the Earth that's moving up to it. So this doesn't move down, it's everything that's moving up. So this only looks like it goes down because we're also being pushed up right now with the Earth because everything's moving up.
then
right
how
now.
does that?
Must be there.
Yeah, how does
So-
that work relative?
That's where
Say
we
like
are.
the moon, right? Like
Yes.
where gravity's like what is it? Like 1 point? I don't know what, but it's like less, right? So
Sure.
you can jump much easier than it would be because on Earth you feel a 1x force of your weight, right?
Sure.
But when you go to the moon, it's like maybe 0.8. So then when you jump, it feels lighter.
Sure, I get that. 1/6
Yeah.
of the weight here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what?
So how does that like put it in terms of like that? Because I got completely
Okay,
lost with the
okay. We're being told that gravity is a force that when I release this into free fall, that there's this this is force
Pulling it
back
down.
that's
So
pulled this down. What I'm saying is that force
That's
has
your
never
argument?
has never been measured or detected. That's why it's just a theory. You guys know what a theory is, right?
Yeah,
It's just an idea, someone's imagination of what's happening.
Sure.
So a pulling force of the Earth has never been measured or detected. The only force that has been measured is an upwards push of the Earth, and buoyancy shows it.
So you're
So-
saying the Earth moves every time someone drops?
No,
something?
it's always moving. So the Earth is always moving up. So when that's why you feel the pressure right now.
What direction
But
is
then
up,
what's
though?
gravitational?
To
field
us,
then?
up is that way.
Yeah, but it depends. Like,
Yes,
if you're
yes.
standing on the other side of
Yes,
the world.
so this is where I was getting
That's what I
now.
was talking
So now we're on the same page, everybody. So you
Yeah.
guys all believe the Earth is a ball, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
spherical,
right?
yeah.
So you guys understand.
not completely perfect.
Yeah,
but
yeah. You guys understand that on a ball or up is relative, right?
Sure.
If you're standing here, up is this way for you.
But it would be
But if
down
you're
if you
standing,
were standing-
yes, and if you're here, up is this way.
Yeah.
Right. Every direction away from the center is up, right? If we could physically prove that gravity is not a pulling force of the Earth and it's actually a pushing force of the Earth, right? And buoyancy shows us that. How can the Earth push up or move up in every direction at the same
Wait, how
time?
is it a pushing force? Sorry.
Yeah.
Buoyancy shows us that there's an upwards push. That's why air bubbles rise in water. Have you guys ever seen air bubbles rising in water?
Yeah.
That shows that there's a buoyant effect and upwards push. So like when you have a beach ball and you put it underneath a pool,
Shoots back up.
yes, because there's a force pushing that up. So that upwards push is correlated to the Earth when connected to the Earth. So the Earth literally exerts an upwards push, and they call it the normal force. But what I'm saying is that's the only force that exists, but it's an upwards motion of the Earth. So if the Earth was moving up and it was a ball, how would that work? How can the Earth move up in every direction at the same time if it was a ball?
Well, isn't that based off the?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. I don't understand how that works.
My point is that it wouldn't work. If the Earth was pushing up and not pulling you down, right, like they tell us, that would mean the Earth will have to be expanding and grow and it'll just explode. It wouldn't work.
Yeah.
In order for people to believe in the ball Earth theory, they first have to believe in gravity being a pulling force. Because if we could prove that it's the other way around and it's a pushing force of the Earth, then the whole globe Earth model falls apart. So the number one proof to debunk the globe Earth is the fact that gravity is a push of the Earth, not a pull. So that's why. So the Earth is an extended level plane, and we're all standing on it, and it's just pushing up in one direction. So everybody's up is the same.
So then, how does
So
the
do you
moon
believe in
stay
other
in our?
planets?
No. So everything about outer space is all CGI and pretty much cartoons. Yeah, look, I can show you. I actually came prepared.
But how do you
Actually
think the
came
moon
prepared.
stays in Earth's gravitational?
So the
field?
Earth, the moon. Nobody's actually been to the moon. I know that they've
But
supposedly.
you've seen it though.
Yeah, I've seen it.
So then, how can you prove that it doesn't exist?
I'm not saying it doesn't exist.
Oh.
So if
I was.
drop my wallet or my keys here, it's gonna fall.
Yeah, but that didn't accelerate down to the Earth. It's the Earth that came up
Well,
to
I
the
think that those are different cases, though, right? Like,
doesn't gravity is measured at my understanding is at
I think my friend has talked to you before.
No. So, you want to know how we debunk objects accelerating down? Another way, pretty easy. So, you guys all have a smartphone, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So, your smartphone, when you have it in landscape or portrait, it switches, right? Because there's a built-in accelerometer in your phone. So, that accelerometer is a force detection device. So, it detects acceleration. So, if you download, yeah.
It's a gyro.
Yeah, it also has a gyro is different. It has an accelerometer and a gyro.
Yeah, so the gyro is gonna tell you which way it's looking, and then the accelerometer.
well, I feel like an accelerometer would be
Okay,
more
so
for.
so accelerometer, you could download an accelerometer app, and what
Sure.
happens is once you have the accelerometer app and you have it at rest,
Okay.
whatever direction you move it, left, right, up, or down, from being at rest, is
Sure.
gonna detect an increase in force.
Yes.
Because you're accelerating it from
Yeah,
being
to
at rest.
measure-
Yes,
yeah,
that's just
that's
how
what that.
acceleration works.
Yes, exactly. So I could test that up, down, it would increase. However, if I have it like this and I release it into free fall, if people claim that it accelerates down to the Earth, there should be an increase in that accelerometer, right? But what happens is when I release it into free fall, the accelerometer goes from 1G to 0. So it measures 0 force in free fall. so it doesn't accelerate down to the Earth. It takes the force when connected
if
to
you go
the Earth.
skydiving, right? You accelerate down.
So when you're skydiving, when they measure acceleration down, in my opinion, they're just measuring the difference in speed between the Earth and the free-falling object.
Wait, hold on.
Which you could say is acceleration of the object down, but in my opinion, it's decelerating. So when somebody's skydiving, you're decelerating, and the Earth just catches up.
But when
I would. Maybe I'm speaking of ignorance, but I would have to.
You would disagree
off of what I know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
No.
But my understanding is that you.
I would like to hear your reasoning to why you disagree.
I mean, I don't remember physics.
I would have to crack a little bit of physics.
Because that's what I'm here for. I'm just trying to reason with people to why they come to the conclusions they come to.
Wait, the reason why there's zero force is because there's gravity, but we get normal force, right?
Yeah, but in free fall, there's zero force acting on the object.
Brother, I appreciate what you're doing. I gotta run. We gotta go study.
Yeah.
But thank you for
Here
what
you
you're
go.
doing.
Check this out. I go to USC, UCLA, and I talk to professors, physics professors, and astrophysicists all the
Cool.
time.
Thank you,
Yeah,
brother. Thank
check
you
it
for
out,
what
man.
you're doing.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Oh, you guys are going. I guess I was gonna ask you guys why you believe the Earth is a globe, but I guess we didn't even get
Well,
this.
'cause, I mean, if the Earth was flat, why can't I see New York from here?
Because you have a limit to perspective. So there is a visual acuity of how far we could see, because you don't have infinite vision. So everything compresses to a point, which is the horizon. So the horizon is a limit of perspective.
Then let's use a camera.
Yeah, when a boat appears to go over the horizon and you bring out a camera to zoom in, like these stars, you're able to pop the boat back into view because they simply went out of view. And with a powerful zoom camera, you're able to pop it back into view.
You wouldn't be able to put it back into.
There's hundreds, thousands of videos of that.
I'm sorry, there's 100,000.
There's hundreds, maybe thousands of videos of people zooming boats back into view. Because it's all about.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Have you seen that one experiment that a bunch of flat earthers did where they put a light over their head?
The laser
You've seen it.
experiment?
You've seen it,
Yeah,
right?
I talked to
Right,
a
so
few people
how-
before you guys did, and I'll
how would
explain
you-
it too.
how
So,
would you explain that?
yeah, so laser experiments, right? You're talking about?
It was sure. Laser.
Yeah, laser experiments to see if
It was
the-
just like
the
a
curve.
flashlight, but
Oh, even worse. Flashlights are very weak, but laser experiments. for
Yet they
exa-
can see it.
Yeah, so if you shine a laser through water, will that laser go straight?
No, because that's called refraction.
Yes, you know the atmosphere is going to give you the same effect, right? If you shine a laser through it,
How do we have an atmosphere if we have if it's just flat?
what
We
is that?
have, huh?
How do we have an atmosphere if it's
Yeah.
flat?
Yeah. So the atmosphere is a bunch of gas, right?
Sure. Gas?
Methane,
Sure.
nitrogen.
I don't know if you knew,
oxygen.
gas needs to be contained as well, too. So.
Exactly. That's why we have an atmosphere.
But but the atmosphere itself has to be contained. So,
Yeah.
but it's by a theory, that has never been measured or detected. The fact is, the atmosphere,
I think it's a matter.
the atmosphere is being contained by a physical barrier. So that's the reality. So you believe that it's being contained by a pulling force that has never been proven. Again,
so let's say I could fly, right? Like Superman. If I just go straight up, I'll run into a wall.
It's a frame.
Hold on, let's go with the frame.
in my opinion, there is some kind of ceiling above us. I don't know what that looks like, and what material is made out of. The Bible talks about it,
But you could.
but I'm not
test
biblical.
it. Why don't you test it? Get a hot air balloon.
What does the Bible say?
They talk about the earth being contained by a firmament that is made of some kind of crystals. Like, it's just bullshit, in my opinion. Nobody knows what the container is made out of, but the Bible's at least acknowledged that there is some kind of container. So that's why people ask, well, what's underneath the earth or what's outside of the? Nobody's been outside of the earth to be able to verify what's there.
Okay, and then you said the Earth
Yes.
is a flat plane, right?
Yes,
How would you,
I would say level plane. 'Cause- level plane.
How would you defend the argument of going like around the world? If you keep going straight, you'll end up back in the same place. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, circumnavigation, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about. Okay, sure. I'll bring this. I'm sorry, I'm just updating my parking real quick. Okay. All right, so circumnavigation, right? So if we have a globe, right, and we flatten out the globe, right, or leveled out the globe, like opened it up, this is what it would look like. I don't push any models, I just want to make that clear. So I don't claim this is what the Earth looks like. Because in my opinion, they're hiding a bunch of other land, and they're hiding a bunch of what the layout actually is, right? But if we take the globe and flatten it out, this is what it would look like. So you're talking about circumnavigation, right? Circumnavigation is using a compass, right, that points north, right? So north will be a center point here.
Okay.
So if you go east or west following a compass, you're essentially going to be doing circles around a plane. This way
then
or
let's-
this way.
Let's ignore the compass.
What nobody's ever done is north to south navigation. So nobody's gone south underneath the globe and come back around north. Because what will happen, in my opinion, you just reach the end of the Earth if you go south. South will be away from the north, which will be every direction away from the center. You won't come back.
Wait, but even like...
That's what will happen. That's why nobody's ever done that.
But even in, like, let's say that you ignore the compass and
Okay,
you go
sure.
left or right. If you, I just pick a direction that way.
No,
if I go straight...
you're going to reach the end of the Earth. You're eventually going to go south. If you just go in a straight line in any direction, you're eventually going to go south.
But that's obviously not true.
Yeah, look, if you're standing here and you go this way, you're eventually going to go south. If you go straight this way, you're eventually going to go south. If you go this way, you're any direction.
When people have gone around the world, right, on voyages or whatever, they visited many different places. If they're going around in circles, they wouldn't be able to visit every single place.
Well, this is how they're doing. Like, they're going from North America, going this way. They visit this area. They go this way. They visit this area. They go around this way. They visit this area. They go back to South America, visit this area, and then come back to where they started. That's east to west navigation.
Yeah.
But nobody's ever done south to north.
Since you brought up like the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere, what's your take on magnetic fields?
Well, the magnetic field here on Earth has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. I acknowledge that it's there and it affects compasses. That's how we're able to use compasses. But the magnetic field on Earth, here on Earth, has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. So I have no opinion on it other than it affects magnets, obviously, and compasses.
You have to have an opinion on it. It kind of...
What about, okay, well, what's your point, Ren?
I don't know, I just wanted to hear what you wanted to say.
Yeah, well, again, it has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth, magnetism. You know? So that's my, So yeah, this is, again, circumnavigation. I mean, again, it could be done from a level. It's like going around a center point, pretty much. That's all we're doing. Even on a globe, you have the center point on top, though, and then you're just going around this way and this way. But nobody's ever gone underneath and above.
Well, sorry, I want to go back to that laser experiment.
Yes. Yes. Thanks for bringing it up. So, here's a better experiment, because obviously laser experiments, you're going to get refraction, so you're going to get inconclusive measurements, right? So, well, here's a better experiment, Raj.
Right.
Do you know the radius of the Earth that they tell us?
I do not know the radius.
So here's the radius of the Earth. You can look this up. I'm not making this up. It's 3,959 miles. That's the distance from the center to the outer circumference.
Yeah.
And then circumference of the Earth is 24,901 miles. Again, you can look this up. So based on the radius of the Earth and using a simple calculation like the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, we can calculate for how much curvature there should be. So this is the formula. And based on the numbers that they're giving us, there should be 8 inches per mile squared. What that means is in the first mile, there should be an 8-inch curve. Second mile, 32 inches. And by the third mile, it should be 6 feet of measurable curvature. What that means that in 6 feet, there should be curvature of 6 feet measured, right? So how do we measure that curvature, right? There's a very easy way. So if we went out to a giant lake that was 3 miles across, filled with water, and we build a level structure above that surface of water, like a horizontal structure above it,
Sure.
the surface of water is going to be parallel to anything horizontal above it, because when water is contained at rest, water always takes the shape of the container, but the surface always equalizes. It always forms a horizontal surface, which is level, right? You got to show me an example where it doesn't. And I know in a very minute scale, there's some kind of meniscus that happens, but we're talking large scales. We're talking about large bodies of water. The surface is not going to deviate, because if it deviates, it's going to flow. That's what happens. But they're trying to tell us that the surface of the lake is bending 6 feet in 3 miles, which is a physical impossibility. So if you're standing at the beginning of the lake, they're saying that the end of that lake is going to be 6 feet below you, which is a physical impossibility for water to do that. Water doesn't have the ability to maintain a shape on the surface once it's contained at rest. The surface always collapses and forms an equal surface, which is horizontal, which is level. So again, a physical measurement of the Earth will show that there is no curvature, because the lake could be 10 miles across.
You're not measuring what's underneath the water. You're just measuring what's on the water.
Yeah, because underneath the water is irrelevant, because the ground could be uneven, right? Could ground be uneven?
Sure.
So how do we make sure the ground is even? There's a reason why they put liquids in these. Why do you think?
No, I get what you're saying.
Because liquid always...
curves, right? You're saying...
Liquid always levels out.
Yeah.
Yes,
It levels
liquids
out.
always level out, and that's the number 2 proof that debunks the globe, because the oceans are full of liquid, and they always level out. So the oceans couldn't be curved around the wall, because it's liquid. And liquid, when contained, again, the oceans are containing the water, the surface always remains level. That's why the term sea level comes from, because the oceans are horizontal.
What causes the tides?
The tides? There's a huge controversy of this, but in my opinion, the tides are being caused by a change in direction of the motions vector, of the Earth's motion vector. So the Earth pushing up right now, for example, it's what orientates water level because it's perpendicular to the vertical, which is the motion of the Earth. Okay. So the reason why we have tides, in my opinion, is because the Earth is not moving in a perfectly straight line. There's a slight deviation relative to us, and the oceans are basically reorienting. So the oceans, the high tide and the low tide, is a reorientation of the oceans relative to the motion of the Earth.
Okay, then let's say that's true.
Yeah.
Right? Why is there no difference when you drop an item?
What do you mean?
If you drop that ruler right now perfectly, how is it going to fall?
Because the Earth is moving up.
Yes, but if there was a slight deviation...
Yeah, but it's negligible to us. That slight deviation of the oceans, it's pretty much negligible to us. So the vertical, it's vertical to us, pretty much. So the upwards push of the Earth is up relative to us. So things are going to fall down, you know, because the Earth is moving up relative to us. So this is just going to get left behind, pretty much. So that's what will happen when you release an atom.
You can't just affect something and ignore the other things.
What am I ignoring?
You have to calculate the low, even the tiny little differences if you drop it. No? Am I wrong?
Are you talking about like the deviation of the Earth's motion vector, is what you're saying? That you will be able to calculate it from dropping something?
Yeah, you would be able to tell us the difference, no?
No, I don't think so. Not right here, not in real time.
All right, then how do you know there's a difference in the water?
Well, you put it this way: the tides is not something that's gonna make or break the globe, or prove or disprove that the Earth is a globe. It's just something that, like, well, what causes the tides in your model? Is of a moon, right? Yeah. It's a theory of a pulling force from an external body that you believe is terra firma, which, in my opinion, the moon is just a light. It's not actually physical.
It's a light?
It's a light, yeah. So I don't think the moon is a physical object you can land on and walk on. Yeah. People believe that because they...
generate its own light? Yeah,
nobody knows.
What do you mean
nobody knows? Nobody knows where the sun, the moon, and the stars generate their lights from. We're being told stories from the mainstream media.
We do know where the sun gets its light.
Where does the sun get its light from?
Nuclear fusion.
That's what you were told. How do you prove that? How do you prove that? How do you prove that? If I'm being honest, like, how do you prove that? Or was it just you believing what you were told?
I mean, you can go really in depth on some papers. There's a lot of evidence.
No, there's a lot of papers. There's a lot.
Tell you, I don't have a PhD.
Okay. Let's say, could we say then that you just take it on faith then?
Isn't that what you're doing?
No, what I'm presenting here is physics that I can prove to myself and I can test for myself.
So how can you prove the sun can't generate? How can you prove the sun's a light?
Well, I can't prove what the sun is, just like nobody else could prove to me what the sun is. Nobody could prove what the sun is.
Doing the same thing.
Yeah, but the sun is a completely irrelevant subject when it comes to the shape of the Earth. The shape of the Earth is right here. We're standing on it. We could literally touch it. We could test it. We can measure it with a ruler if we wanted. We could do that, and that's what I'm doing here, literally, to measure the Earth.
It's not really irrelevant if you can see it.
No, I could see it. I acknowledge that it's real. The sun is real. It's there. It gives us warmth. It's there. What about the sun, though, that proves the shape of the Earth? Okay, it rises and sets.
Yeah. So
okay.
You're gonna say that it just goes over us, right? And it goes underneath and circles.
Or it doesn't go underneath. It just, in my opinion, the sun is very tiny in comparison to the Earth.
Which is obviously not.
Whoa.
No.
That is a crazy statement.
Yeah, they tell us that it's the other way around. That the sun is 93 million miles away and 500,000 miles in diameter, and the Earth is only 24,000 miles. So you guys believe that? I used to believe it too. It's fine. But in reality, the sun is very local and very small, and it's right above us, and it just moves around the Earth. It doesn't go down or not. It just moves across the Earth, and it only illuminates parts of the Earth at the same time at a time.
Wait. You can measure it. You can see that it's not tiny.
Well, okay.
If you're holding an object in front of you, and it's way bigger but closer, it's gonna look smaller. But if it's way bigger but further away, it's gonna look smaller. So using vision alone, you're not gonna tell you how far something is unless you know.
He can make that argument. Can you pull up the flat Earth?
Yeah, the flat Earth map. Sure. Okay. Here.
Wait. So the sun moves around like this?
Yes. Right? It just moves around like that. Very tiny and very above.
Why does it only light up small portions like?
Yeah,
it's saying because it's really small.
It's really small and really close. So the reason why we get nighttime is because the sun goes out of perspective. So it goes so far that the light can't reach us anymore, and because there's mountains in between and limits to perspective, the light can't reach us once it goes further out away from us.
There's limits to our perspective,
yes.
right?
Yes.
You wouldn't just say it's like gone. It doesn't despawn like it's in Minecraft.
Oh no. There is flat earthers that talk about that. Again, these are the controlled opposition to make this subject look stupid. They talk about the Pac-Man model, that it disappears and then it appears over here again. Like, that's retarded.
I guess.
Yeah, that is retarded. But yeah, those are the mainstream flat earthers that's trying to make this subject look
You gotta
stupid.
be careful what you say. You might get canceled.
Right. Trust me, I'm super censored. I'm already canceled, if anything. Believe it or not, I am.
I don't believe it.
I'm not recommended in any algorithms. I'm not. My channel is super censored.
Trust me, I believe it.
Yeah, trust me. Like, and but yeah, this is it, man. This is the biggest lie on earth by far. It's what we're living. People believing we're living somewhere when we're not. In other words.
I mean, if you really want to know, really want to know, you could prove it yourself. Put a camera on a hot air balloon and just let it rise. You'll see the curvature of the Earth.
You gotta, again, a lot of flat earthers have done this experiment where they put a camera with that, because I know you've heard of the fisheye lens, like GoPros have it.
Yeah.
They warp horizontal lines because they have a wide angle, right?
Right.
Yes, if you get a standard camera without a fisheye lens and you put it in a high altitude balloon, this is what you're gonna see. Look, I'll show you.
The curvature is pretty
It's not even there. It doesn't exist. Here, this is hot air balloon footage with standard camera. How would you describe the horizon? This is like 20 miles in the sky.
20 miles?
Well,
20 miles.
is not enough.
You said the circumference was like 24 grand.
24,101. Yeah. But here's the
So-
thing. If the horizon in front of you was the curve of the Earth...
20 miles is almost nothing.
Exactly. This is as high as human beings have gone. Nobody's gone higher than like 25 miles. NASA claims to go thousands of miles up, but it's just cartoons that they show us. CGI and green screens and blue screens. So everything that they're showing us about outer space is all made up.
Okay, so what about telescopes?
Telescopes, again, you can only see lights like this. You don't see anything else. With real telescopes, this is what you see. NASA tries to show us this,
You can get pretty close to the moon.
but this is what Mars looks like. It's just a light like this. Nobody knows what they are.
So where did you get this picture?
This is a P900 camera, Nikon P900. It's a commercial. Anyone could buy it.
So why do you trust this camera over this one?
Because I don't have access to these cameras that they say take this picture. It's just NASA claiming that they have a camera that could take this picture.
But you can definitely get a commercial telescope that will let you look pretty close to the moon. And you
Oh,
can
yeah,
tell that it won't just be a light.
Yeah, the moon is a little different than the stars. I would admit that.
So
The sun,
why is that one special and the rest aren't?
well, because it has different properties. That's for sure.
That isn't a star. That's a
Yeah,
planet.
yeah. I don't know if you guys knew, the moonlight casts a cold shadow. Now, I haven't done this experiment myself, but people have done experiments where they put a thermometer in front, right in direct moonlight, and then in moon shade. The direct moonlight has a colder temperature than in the moon shade. So the moonlight emits a light opposite of the sun, because the sun obviously is warmer in direct sunlight, but cooler in the shade. But the moon is the opposite. It's colder in direct moonlight and warmer in the shade. So the sun and how the sun and the moon are opposites, in my opinion. How they work, I don't know how the fuck they work. Like, the creator made them. I don't know how he made them. I acknowledge that this is a creation, 100%. Because I used to be atheist.
What religion do you follow?
I don't follow any religion. All religions are there to control people. So I acknowledge that this is a creation, and that's as far as it goes. I don't know what that is.
So you're agnostic?
Not agnostic, because I acknowledge that this is a creation, 100%. I guess agnostic in the sense where I don't pick a religion.
But agnostic means like there's a higher power, right?
Sure, I would say that. Sure, then there's definitely a higher power. You can't, like, if you find a Tesla abandoned in the desert, would you assume that Tesla created itself, or would you assume that there was an intelligent designer that designed the Tesla?
Whoa.
Or would you come to the conclusion that the Tesla created itself? Matter just created the Tesla by
I'm
itself.
gonna keep it a buck. If we had no knowledge of cars and stuff, I think we would assume that the Tesla made itself. But
Oh shoot!
since we know that cars, we can make cars and all that, we know that there's a creator.
So you would assume, if you had no knowledge of technology, for example, like of a car, and you find this,
If I saw a watch on the floor and I knew nothing about
you would have come to the
I would
conclusion.
have looked at that watch and I would have been like, dang, that's probably supposed to be
tree
there.
branch.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I would not come to that conclusion. If I seen
Yes, you
like a clock that's working, like I would not assume that clock could build itself. I would assume that there was some kind of intelligent designer that made that clock. Just like even with how trees grow, everything, I would say that obviously you guys believe that everything created itself, right?
Oh, no, I'm Muslim.
Oh, you're Muslim?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys believe in God? Oh, okay. Oh, fair enough then. Yeah, everything is a creation here. It was created. So the Big Bang and evolution is all bullshit to back up the globe Earth theory. So it's just a religion too. The globe Earth is based on faith, and they give you a creation story too, just like every other religion. You guys believe your creation story?
My creation story, as in like my religion?
Yeah, your religion.
Yeah,
it has a creation story, right?
Yeah.
You see, I would say, again, not me to offend you, but I would just say that that's no different than evolution and the Big Bang.
You refer to...
I acknowledge that this place was created. I don't believe any creation story, though. Because if I'm being honest, I have no clue how this place was created. No clue. All I know is that it was created. It had to be. There's no way we have all this, intelligent design, how the body works, the mind, the gut, and everything in our bodies. It didn't come by accident.
Can I hear your take on asteroids?
Asteroids?
Yeah.
I would say asteroids. They're not coming from outer space. I'll tell you that.
What about iron?
Iron?
Yeah.
Everything's found here on Earth. Everything that we have here on Earth came from the Earth. Plastic, everything that you see, everything came from the Earth.
Iron came from asteroids.
Metal.
Iron's not native to Earth.
It is. Yes, magnets are man-made as well. We made it from Earth materials. I don't know if you guys knew that. Magnets are man-made. We made them here.
Wait. The magnetic force or
solid magnets.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, solid magnets are man-made. They don't exist. Like you can't find a rock that's a magnet, for example. You know what I'm saying? No. Sure. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Sure,
they're
but
not as strong, but they definitely have magnetic properties.
Sure, they probably have some iron in them or some metal that may be attracted to a magnet. But
yeah,
magnets, like the circular magnets, like the permanent magnets, those are all man-made.
Right.
Permanent magnets, yeah, you can look that up. Electromagnets, on the other hand, obviously they're man-made, but there's an electromagnetic field here on Earth too, and obviously we use it to make electromagnetic motors and stuff like that. But yeah, this is it right here. You guys have any other questions?
I kind of just don't like how you said that iron is from Earth.
Okay, well, you believe they came from where? From space? From asteroids?
Yeah.
Space? Fair enough. I respect that belief, We could agree to disagree there, right?
Yeah.
Sure, I'll admit that. I can't prove where, but again, when it comes to the shape of the Earth, these are the numbers. This is the physics, and it can't be denied. It is what it is. And, you could go to sleep tonight and wake up tomorrow. Physics is not going to change. Physics is what it is, and it's either we accept it or ignore it. And obviously the mainstream is ignoring it on purpose because they want to lie to us. And it's up to us to figure it out for ourselves. That's what it comes down to.
Wait. So since you're already censored and you're
Yes.
not on any algorithm,
Yes.
can I hear your opinion on Jewish people?
Jewish, oh my God. Here's my thing. All of these different religions and different robes people wear, it's just that. It's just like a cape that they wear. So, Jewish have their own traditions, their own culture. Christians have their own culture. To me, I don't look at people's religion. I look at what they offer. So if you're offering me bullshit when it comes to the shape of the Earth, for example, then I'm going to call out the bullshit. So I don't focus on people's religion or what they, what that is. That to me is irrelevant.
Sorry, I should have been more specific. As in how they're all in power.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of flat Earth propaganda behind trying to hate Jews, and Jews are the ones responsible for lying to us, and they're the ones that are controlling everything, and we should hate against the Jews and stuff like that. You see, that kind of mentality to me is pretty primitive, if that makes sense. To just try and riot people and use violence towards people. I feel like that's what they're trying to push to for people to hate Jews because they're in positions of power. But in reality, it's our own ignorance that puts them in power. So I take responsibility for myself, and everyone should too, and not put the blame in someone else for what we're going through. Because we're enabling all these people in power. We are giving them the power. Representatives, governors, mayors. We're giving them the power to dictate our own lives. So we should be mad at ourselves, not point the finger at Jews or Christians or it's their fault. It's just all part of the psychology of how to control people. To put the blame on someone else when it should be, the responsibility should be on us. you know, to get better, to learn, to call them out.
Next
in other
question.
words. Yes.
Who do you believe did 9/11?
I honestly don't know. 9/11. I don't know. There's a lot of evidence that shows that there was no airplanes. It was just bombs planted inside the building. And ironically, there was an insurance claim that they made 2 weeks before they blew up so they got a lot of money from that as well, because they raised the insurance to the maximum like 7 days before it happened. So in my opinion, it was a controlled demolition. I can't prove it, but that was just my opinion. Yeah, controlled demolition. And they got a lot of money from it, insurance money. You know. And all the people that they claim died, a lot of people have done research and looked at the stats for that year of people that died, and nothing changed. They didn't. Those 3,000 deaths that they reported supposedly, they were not accounted for, like in the hospitals.
So you're saying nobody died?
Nobody died. Yeah. That's what evidence shows. I can't prove that, you know. So that's why I don't get into that, because I can't prove it. But that's what some evidence shows.
There's videos of people
jumping
out
yeah.
the building.
There's also a video of an airplane hitting the building. Did you know that green screens were a thing back then? Yeah, you know The Matrix, the movie The Matrix? You know, that movie came out before that, and they have a lot of special effects there.
Yeah,
So
but
wait.
they're not as good as real life.
Yeah. Okay, wait. So the people that watched other people jump out of the building,
I couldn't tell you, to be
you
honest.
think they're like paid or what?
I have no clue. When it comes to the 9/11 conspiracy, I have no clue. I have no comment, to be honest.
What
Yeah.
about aliens?
Aliens, I could tell you that. So extraterrestrials, if extraterrestrials exist, extraterra means extra land.
Yeah.
So if extraterrestrials exist, they live here on Earth in extra lands outside of our little bubble, I guess you could say. They're just across the way
Bubble?
in extra lands.
If
Yeah.
Our bubble?
Yeah, in a little bubble.
In our spherical bubble?
Fair enough. I would say it's like a dome, if anything, more than a globe. I don't know what the container is, but it's definitely not a globe. I'm 100%.
If you really believe in this theory, why don't you go out there, search?
That's what I'm doing right here. I'm.
I mean, not like here, but like.
Well, I don't have the resources. I don't have the money. I don't have the manpower. I don't have. Again, at the end of the day, I don't have resources. I'm still a slave to the system. I have to pay rent every month. I have to, you know, provide for my family. I have 2 kids, 2 little kids. So I have to really make time just to even come out and do this. Yet alone, you know, explore the earth. You know, that's impossible for me. I would have to come across a millionaire maybe, and then maybe we could do something. You know, but that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to recruit people, because we need numbers first. If we really want to explore the earth and find the extremities of it, we need a lot of people. You know, so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to share this information because it is being censored, and I'm just trying to, I guess you could say, recruit people, get people on the same page, and then we can move forward.
I think instead of finding people, like just a bunch of people, I think you should hone your efforts into, like, you know, like Nicholas Copernicus and all of them, and how they like did all these models and stuff. You should do that, make models, gather evidence, and try presenting that. Maybe like NASA and stuff won't take it. Like my sister, she works for JPEG, which sponsors NASA, so she's like working communications between everyone.
Yeah.
Maybe they won't take it, but like you'll find some sort of outreach somewhere eventually if you put in enough effort. You know what I mean?
I guess.
Finding a lot of people is just gonna waste your time.
Well, here's the thing, though. All the mainstream outlets, for example, all the news agencies, you know, NBC, you know, all these major news agencies are never going to take something like this on board. You know, they're going to look at it and just brush it aside. So the best thing we could do is present this ourselves and broadcast it ourselves, because they're not going to push for it. I don't know if you guys knew, the media has been bought out since like the 80s. Most of the media, the mainstream media, it's all bought and paid for already. Yeah, maybe they are behind it. I would say the Jewish are just the face. They're kind of like pawns. So the people that really pull the strings, we don't even know who they are.
There's people above?
Oh yeah, the shadow. Have you heard of the shadow government? Or the term shadow government?
I thought the shadow government was that.
No, the Jews are just pawns. That's what I'm telling you. All these people that are in, all the faces, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, all the mainstream faces and all the people that you actually see, they're all pawns. They're all being used. So the people that truly pull the strings, we don't know who they are. In my opinion, they're over 100 years old. These motherfuckers are probably over 150 years old. They probably,
That's where I can believe.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, how's it going? Here.
Islam teaches that
Here, you could take this. Give it a read. Yeah, that's what I talk about. Yeah, we don't know who's really in charge. I could tell you that. So all of these, all of these people, in my opinion, they're just the face of a certain agenda, I guess you could say, right? Yeah. So, at the end of the day, again, it's about taking personal responsibility. I know we like to play the victim. It's easy to be a victim. It's easy to just play victim and it's not my fault. It's the government fucking everything up. And it's like, well, do you know the government was created by and for the people? It's created by the people for the people. So we created the government, but we're gonna complain about it. And it's like, no, we gotta, take responsibility and basically take control of our own lives, and then stop giving that authority to a government and external source to dictate our lives. That's retarded. The fact that we live like that, it's fucking retarded in my opinion, that we let other people dictate our lives. Not even other people we don't even know. Completely strangers are dictating our lives. I don't think that's smart, but that's just the way we're living, and that's how they have us. They just have us chasing our tail. They raise taxes every year, they raise rent every year, they raise everything every year, and we're just complying. Again, it's all about control in my opinion. They dumb us down. I think the shape of the earth topic is about dumbing us down so that we're more easily controllable. That's what it comes down to. It's about control. It's not really about the shape of the earth, it's about control. And again, a lot of people think it's just about the shape of the earth, and it's like, no, it's just the starting point. Like this, the shape of the earth shows who's in alliance with them. You know what I'm saying? It just shows your commitment, I guess, to them. The fact that you believe them. It just shows that you're committed. In a way. But yeah, that's what it comes down to, in my opinion. So, anything else you guys like to bring to the table before we go?
When Russia and America started digging towards the center,
yes.
the center of the Earth, in quotation marks, there was heat when they went down there.
Yes.
What's the source of that heat?
So, in my opinion, the heat down there, it has to do with pressure. So the increase in pressure, so the deeper you go, the more compressed everything gets because there's more weight above pushing down, right? The deeper you go. So in my opinion, it could be increase in heat because
You're saying it's pushing down?
Well, it's pushing down in the sense where, because mass has inertia. So it's resisting the upwards push. You get what I'm saying? So the deeper you go, the more compressed the soil becomes, right? So the deeper and deeper, the more compression there is, the more pressure there is, that means the more heat there's going to be, in my opinion. So it has to do with increasing pressure. So I know you're kind of going with this like a molten core, right? That's where you think the heat's coming from.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Well, that's what they tell us, but in my opinion, it's not that. But that's just my opinion. Again, I can't prove that either. But
and then what about seismographs? Like when they would send waves through the Earth, and how it would travel slowly through the crust and then speed up as it went through the liquid core.
Okay, you're talking about like radio waves that they send down there or something like.
I don't know. They'd be doing some waves and like it travels through the
different layers, right?
Layers.
I haven't looked into that at all to be able to give an opinion on it, so I couldn't tell you what that is or what I think it is.
Right.
Yeah.
And then something else. Atomic forces.
Atomic forces?
Yeah. So when atoms gain mass, right? They not gain mass, but when there's atoms of different mass,
sure,
and atoms with greater masses than others, they pull other atoms towards each other.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your
Well, when you're talking about atoms and molecules and neutrons and protons and all of that is conceptual. So nobody's actually like played around with atoms. Does that make sense? So we're just assuming that that's what's making up matter.
What about nukes?
What?
What about nukes?
Nukes?
Yeah.
Nucleus? So what are you talking about?
Nukes, like the weapons.
Oh, weapon, nuclear
Big
bombs? Oh, nuclear bombs. Honestly, again, I mean, these subjects are irrelevant to the shape of the earth. I don't really look into them, to be honest. So I don't have an opinion about nuclear bombs. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
And then
I'm surprised you guys haven't brought up dinosaurs.
what are your thoughts on that? Let's hear your thoughts on dinosaurs.
Yeah, there's a lot of flat earthers that talk about dinosaurs not being real and stuff like that. And honestly, I was kind of getting like sucked into that rabbit hole a little bit in the beginning. Again, I've been into this subject 10 years, and there's a lot of subjects like that that are trying to like take your attention from the shape of the earth, kind of like muddying the waters with all these other subjects. And dinosaurs is one of them. And I just, to be honest, they're probably not real, but they could be real. They could be different creatures that existed, and they're exaggerating the size of them. And, you know, I don't know. Dinosaurs, I have no clue. Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's irrelevant to the shape of the earth. So I kind of tend to stay away from subjects like that because those subjects are irrelevant to the shape of the earth.
What's your favorite dinosaur?
Probably, I don't know what the name of it is, but maybe the tall one, the long neck one.
There's Brachiosaur, Brontosaur, Apatosaur.
No, yeah.
probably
My 2-year-old loves dinosaurs, I'll tell you that. So,
I love art.
yeah, they say that the T-Rex was probably designed from like a kangaroo. Kind of has the shape of a kangaroo, doesn't it? A T-Rex.
Kangaroos are kind of straight. T-Rex
Sure.
are more like
Fair enough. They have the little arms though, the long tail, the big legs. You know.
Oh wait, what are your thoughts on evolution?
Oh yeah, evolution is it's a creation story.
Creation story.
Yeah, so it's not real.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a theory that's not backed by anything. So people try to take adaptation. So animals do adapt to the environment.
Yeah.
People try to take adaptation and try to say that that's evolution. But evolution is one species of animal changing to a different species of animal. That's what evolution claims. That has never been observed or seen. Adaptation, however, has. But that's completely different than evolution. So again, I accept adaptation. I deny evolution.
Okay. And then, are you running out of time? Or what?
No. There you go. Yeah, you could. No, you could take that. You can take.
Run it.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah. This is gonna be the last conversation for sure. But you know, if you guys have anything else, go for it.
One last thing.
Yeah.
Millions of years ago, there lived the coelacanth, right?
What lived?
The coelacanth. It's a fish.
Okay, a
right?
fish. Sure.
And it was thought to have been extinct for a crazy long time.
Okay.
But it was found once again very recently. I don't really know where I'm going with this. I just kind of want to hear your thoughts on that. Something from way back when.
That people thought was extinct and then they found it again.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, obviously it wasn't extinct, right? It's true. So they were wrong there. So it was, again, their theory was wrong that this animal was extinct, and if they found it, then yeah, you can just say that it wasn't extinct.
What are the chances that your theory?
Well, I would say slim to none. I would say none. I would say 100% I'm right, and you know, because like I said, the physics of water, for example, it's not going to change. You know, water has properties. Water cannot be compressed. I don't know if you guys knew that. So
Did that leaf fall, or did we go up?
we go up to it. Yeah, this didn't get pulled down. Nothing.
Wait, did it just prove it right there?
Wait, sorry, I don't mean to chime in. I'm an astronomer and I can.
Oh, okay, astronomer.
Wait,
there we go.
get him in here,
There we go. There we
get him
go.
in here.
Are you familiar with the star Polaris?
Yes.
And you know it cannot be seen from the southern hemisphere.
Yes.
Why can't it be seen from the
Due to perspective.
perspective?
Yes. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Sorry, I don't want
Yeah.
to
Go for it. Go for it.
So you believe in the heliocentric, or sorry, the geocentric,
Geocentric,
model, right?
yes.
So everything is going. Do you also believe that the planets are points of light?
They're points of light, sure.
Okay, because I believe it was in around the 2010s,
Okay.
Venus did a transit of the sun, which means it went above the sun, and you could use a solar filter to
Okay.
look at the sun,
Sure.
and you could observe the planet Venus going between the Earth and the sun.
Sure.
And so this is a point of disagreement I have with flat earthers, or at least those who subscribe to the geocentric model.
Sure.
Is that they're points of light, because I've observed Venus, I've observed Jupiter and Mars, and you can see all their rotations, you can see their roundness, and especially with the star Polaris, you can watch it grow as you go to Greenland. You can watch it get up higher and higher.
Sure.
And then as you go away, you can watch it shrink.
Yes.
And also, I've actually run an experiment on the curve of water.
Okay, okay.
And so what it was is this was with Lake Elsinore. I had one of my telescopes there.
Okay.
And we were observing the curve by having the telescope on the shore.
Sure.
And then my buddy standing on the opposite side of the lake, a few miles away.
Yes.
You could see the dip. So you couldn't see down by his feet. You couldn't really see the shore, but it kind of came up by his knees.
How long is Lake Elsinore?
It's a few miles. I can check on
Okay.
maps.
So it's a very significant distance.
At least it was at least a few inches.
Sure.
Yeah.
We can see it on Google Maps. Wait, sorry, that's Lake Maps. Lake Elsinore is about 2.5 miles.
Seeing it, I can back that up.
Yeah. So that experiment has been shown in smaller scales, for example. So where people have like a brick like this, and then they have a long, let's say like a basketball court, right? You put the camera really as low as possible on the floor, and then you can have an object at the end of the basketball court, right? And if you have that camera very low to the ground, but you're still able to see across, what happens is at a further distance that you are, the bottom's gonna start to get obscured by the table in front because it's a limit of perspective. So if I was to put a camera right above the table here and I start to move an object away from it, you're not gonna see the bottom of it anymore. That doesn't mean the table's curving. That just means that it's going out of perspective. So the angle of view of this bottom portion of the object you're observing is not able to reach your eye or the lens.
So you're saying
Yes. If you put
eye on a super flat surface.
Yes, if you put a camera lens right above the surface and you observe a horizontal floor, for example, you're gonna start to see the bottom get obscured the further out you go, due to perspective.
I feel like camera lenses are kind of a bad reference because it would have to be at the perfect like molecular height.
Well, it doesn't have to be perfect; it just has to be right above it. You know, right above where you could see this and this. But the further out you see, you won't be able to see this.
Well, I'm still concerned about Venus though, and how Venus and Mercury are able to transit in front of the sun.
Okay, so okay. First of all, the lights in the sky and how they move, and I would say it's a red herring when it comes to the shape of the Earth because looking up at the skies tells me nothing about the dimensions of the Earth physically.
Well, it can kind of tell us how it spins, how it rotates. Like we have the changing of the seasons.
Sure, I would say you have to assume that the Earth is rotating and not the sky rotating on its own. Because I would say that the stars are rotating and we're not rotating. You believe we're rotating and the stars are not rotating.
So is everything rotating around Polaris?
Yes.
Because Polaris, then how did our North Star switch between... But you can observe our North Star switching between, I believe it was Sirius and Polaris over the course of a few thousand years.
That's what we've been told, but nobody actually has record of that.
And also, it can be seen now that Polaris is not the dead center of the celestial North Pole. The celestial North Pole is actually, well, given at the time, it's a little bit to the left or the right.
Sure, I've heard of that. Yeah, I've heard of that.
Polaris. Because I was out last night actually imaging Jupiter.
So where are you going with this, I guess? If Polaris did shift a little bit, which I don't think it did, but let's say it did, how does that prove a globe for you?
Well, I'm going with that Vega or Sirius used to be our North Star.
Okay.
And that can be proven by precession, which is only a thing that can happen on a globe or a spherical surface due to the rotation of the Earth. And
so you're talking about like the Earth rotating and it kind of wobbles, so that wobble from rotating, it kind of changes the...
I'm saying precession over the course of thousands of years.
Okay, fair enough. So you're saying that because of that proves to you that it's a globe that the North Pole shifted a little bit.
I think Venus and Mercury transiting the sun at least proves it. And also, I've observed Mars getting larger and smaller in a telescope at the same magnification over the season. So it's telling us that something's going further away and then coming back in closer to me.
Okay, if I was to ask you, what's your number one proof, nail in the coffin, Earth is a globe? Would that be it?
I'd have to say it's the separation of the southern night sky and the northern night sky.
So the fact that we have night and day, that proves to you?
The fact that the northern hemisphere we can see
from the night from the other side.
the northern hemisphere we can view Polaris and we can see other things.
Yeah.
I believe the Andromeda galaxy is also not visible from the southern hemisphere. The southern hemisphere has the large and small Magellanic clouds. They have their own southern North Pole, celestial pole. Sorry, not North Pole.
Okay.
And I'm just curious as to how all of those things can be attributed to perspective when they're at all these different angles. The North and South Magellanic Cloud aren't really close to the celestial South Pole.
I would say all of your observations that you're making and angles to these lights, I would say they're based on an assumption, one, that these lights are trillions and trillions of miles away, two, that the Earth is spinning, and three, that the Earth is a globe. So all of these observations that you're making to come to the conclusion that the Earth is a globe are based on assumptions already to begin with. So you're making an assumption to try and prove the globe of the Earth. Does that make sense?
Well, I can record them too because based on my latitude, I have to fix my telescope to
Sure.
look at a different point in the sky. And so just that 2-hour trip to go further south from my location, I had to do that much adjustment. And also, I can see things come up on the horizon that would be as low as Polaris is what you're saying.
Sure.
I can see things right as they're setting. You know, if you're on a perfectly flat surface, you can see the moon setting.
Yeah.
You know, perfectly flat plane of view.
Yeah.
And so they should be able to see that like Polaris from the south. But also I wanted to bring up, so you believe the ISS, all rocket launches are...
Oh yeah, definitely green screens, blue screens,
but
augmented reality.
But I viewed the ISS through my telescope.
You viewed a light, I would say, in the sky, sure.
Well, would you like to see pictures by amateur astronomers?
Sure, I would like to see. I would say that whatever you're seeing in the sky is not in outer space. It's in the Earth's atmosphere.
I like this one guy. His name is TW Astrophotography.
Tell you what, here's the thing. Obviously you believe the Earth. Oh shit.
So this is a photo he took of the ISS.
Oh, you didn't take it?
No, this is a photo he took.
Okay. I thought you took it.
I've seen it. Yeah. I've seen it.
Well, did you take
but
your
it
other
moves.
photos?
Huh?
Did you take the other photos?
Yeah,
to show
I have a
us?
P900.
It moves extremely fast, so it's very hard for me to image with such high focal length, which is zoom. But he has a 24-inch Dobsonian or 16-inch Dobsonian, which is how big the mirror is. I'm building currently a 17.5-inch Dobsonian, so I could get images like this. It's just all about timing.
Okay, I'll show you this proof. This is the number 2 proof that debunks the globe, and let's see if you can keep up with it. Real quick. Because I get what you're saying about the
While
stars.
you're pointing that out, can I chime in real quick?
Sure.
So he's telling you, he's showing you,
Well, that image,
Okay,
he didn't take it, obviously.
Let's ignore the image.
That image,
He's telling you he's seen the planets.
Yeah, he's seen a light in the sky.
Well, I've seen the ISS too.
It's because he believes that the planets and other interstellar
Yeah,
bodies
this
are
is
all light.
look. This is what they look like. I'll show you.
That's what he believes.
Yeah,
they look
this
like.
is what they look like when you zoom into them.
That's obviously not
These
true.
are unfocused.
So you're telling me that this is what Mars
This is
actually...
from a probe.
Yeah.
These are unfocused.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
These are what celestial objects look like non-focused.
Well, that's what I'm saying. These images that NASA shows us that they only have access to, we have to believe that those are real. Because if we get a commercial telescope or a telescope that anyone can buy, this is what Mars actually looks like.
But I took this photo last night of Jupiter.
Sure, okay, but it's still, like, it doesn't prove anything.
I have one of Mars too.
Can I look at that picture?
I have to just believe that you took that picture too.
I did. It says today at 1:38 a.m. I had a Z11, an 11-inch Schmidt Cassegrain telescope on a wedge mount, and an ASI 585 MC Pro astrophotography.
Sure. We're talking about lights in the sky, which doesn't prove the shape of the Earth at the end of the day.
And then there's also moons around.
Okay, here. Do you know the radius of the Earth? Since you know a lot about the Earth, I'm gonna assume you know the radius of the Earth. Oh my God. Okay.
I've tried to remember it many times.
3,959 miles is the radius of the Earth.
Okay.
Would you accept that? You can look it up right now if you want.
I believe you.
Okay, now if we multiply that times 2, we get the diameter of the Earth, right? And if we multiply that diameter times pi, we get the circumference. You're following me, right?
Well, yes.
Yeah, 24,901 allegedly is the circumference of the Earth, right? Based on a simple calculation like the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, we can calculate for how much curvature there should be based on the numbers that they're giving us, right? Okay. So again, this is the formula. You can double check this yourself. So it turns out that there should be 8 inches per mile squared of curvature here on Earth based on the radius. So how do we measure for that curve, right? There's supposedly a 8-inch drop in the first mile.
We use water like I did.
Yes, 32 inches in the second mile and 6 feet by the third mile of measurable curve, right?
Well, that's not true.
Well, that's based on, again, you can double.
By the third mile.
Yes, 6 feet by the third mile.
Well, I've also...
You can chat GPT that yourself if you want.
6 feet?
Yes,
Chat
GPT.
How are we
No,
going
well,
from...
ask, if you don't want to do the math yourself, is my point. You can ask chat GPT. But you can do the math yourself.
Okay,
You know, here's the thing. Let me finish real quick.
Okay, yeah, no
Okay,
problem.
6 feet and 3 miles. You can deny that if you want, but that's what it is. If we went out to a giant lake, like the lake you went out to,
Yes.
that was 3 miles across at least, and we build a level structure above that surface of water, the water is going to show that it's going to be parallel to anything horizontal above it, regardless of distance, because that's the physics of water when contained at rest. The water always takes the shape of the container, but the surface always equalizes and forms an equal surface, which is level, right? They're trying to tell us that the surface of water is not level and it's actually curving 6 feet in 3 miles, which is a physical impossibility if we went out to a giant lake to measure for this curvature.
So you said 6 feet for 3
6
miles,
feet for
right?
3 miles, 66 feet in 10 miles.
But how would it go from 8 inches per mile to 6 feet?
Because there's an increase in, because the curvature is supposed to, it's not a slope, right? Because if it was a slope, it would be 8 inches every mile. That would give you a slope. They're claiming it's a sphere, so it has to be squared. It's 8 inches per mile squared because they're claiming it's a sphere.
But if we follow that math, will we get to,
yes,
for example, like the radius and then down the radius?
Yes, I can give you the exact numbers.
But also,
for the
star
sphere.
photos are untrue. Those are unfocused stars.
Sure. Let's just stick to the curvature of the Earth. So this will be the exact curvature every mile using a computer program.
4,000 by 4,000.
Yes, 4,000 by 4,000 pretty much, but the 8 inches per mile squared. These are the measurements in inches and feet and in miles, right? So these are the exact numbers based on the radius of the Earth, which put into practice, they don't exist. This curvature doesn't exist here on Earth.
Wait. If it's a sphere, right?
Yeah.
The curvature would be consistent all the way around instead of exponentially increasing.
Yeah, but that's if you're changing your position every time. We're keeping our reference point from here, and we're measuring from here relative, out this way. So if we move with the Earth and measure every mile, then yeah, it's going to be 8 inches every mile from where we start. But if we start at one point and then just measure a mile, 8 inches, and then another mile after that, and then another mile, without moving from the starting point, that deviation should increase. Because we're not moving our starting point to the next mile, and then it's going to be 8 inches, and then does that make sense?
I have to fall back on him. Do we agree with that?
Well, I just have to think about it more mentally in my head. I can see the point he's trying to prove.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've actually thought about this before in my own head, like thinking about the curvature and stuff.
There's a reason why this is not talked about in the mainstream arena. They talk about laser experiments because a physical measurement like this will prove without a shadow of a doubt that there is no curve. Now, if they're using laser experiments over the atmosphere, through the atmosphere, then we're always going to have refraction. There's always going to be inconclusive tests.
Do you have a flat Earth map on you?
Oh, I do. I don't claim that this is what the Earth looks like, but I do have it for reference for people that want to use it. I don't believe this map at all.
So, how are flights able to pass over the Antarctic to Australia?
Like I say, I don't believe this map, but what do you mean over the Antarctic?
So, flights are able to go from Argentina, fly over Antarctica, and end up in Australia.
You're making that up.
You're allowed to fly over Antarctica.
Nobody has gone south and come back around north. That circumnavigation has never been done.
Well, Marco Polo circumnavigated.
North to south?
Well, no, I wouldn't say north to south.
Yeah, they went east to west. Everybody does east to west,
to
which is, circles around the center, which is this and this. Nobody has gone south and come back around this way on a globe. Because in reality, you'll just reach the end of it.
I think that's an assumption to say that no one's flown over the south.
Well,
but you can definitely fly from Antarctica to Australia.
So you think you can go down this way and then come back this way?
Yes, you can.
You can? Oh.
Yes.
I would say that's a belief.
I was also in flight school.
Yeah.
And there's no restrictions going over Antarctica to Australia.
Have you heard of the Antarctic Treaty?
I've heard of the Atlantic.
So that will prevent anyone from actually... Yeah, so the Antarctic Treaty just prevents any civilian from exploring Antarctica. So
you can explore it, but you can't build there. You
can't explore it either.
It's like a giant nature preserve.
You could definitely fly over it to here.
Yeah, I would say that's a belief.
No, it's not a belief. He just told you can fly.
Yeah, he believes that.
Have you seen people do it?
No, he read about it.
Also, you are allowed to buy an expedition to go to Antarctica.
Okay, let's go back to physics that we can prove to ourselves.
Well, also, I want to talk about GPS.
You can definitely prove that one. That's probably the easiest one to prove.
I also want
Nobody's ever done it, to be fair.
Wait, what are you guys talking about?
I also want to talk about GPS.
Not a flat earther.
Round earth funny balls.
You're not a flat earther?
Not a flat earther.
I'm kind of confused.
You can take that with
exactly
it. Yeah, the flat earth is a psyop. Earth is not. Earth is level.
I want to talk about
Earth is level. It's a huge difference between flat and level.
I want to talk about the Starlink and GPS constellations. Are those all just fake?
Oh, so GPS is all. I don't know how does GPS work, if I may ask? Because I can show you. I can tell you how.
They taught us flight school, right? So there's ground uplink stations.
Yes.
And there's a constellation of satellites. The U.S. has GPS, the Russians have GLONASS, the Chinese have BeiDou, and the Europeans have Galileo. I believe it's 13. And so there's small uplink stations, then there's large uplink stations that actually update corrections to the GPS. And then the GPS will send information back down into the uplink stations that update to your aircraft's avionics.
Okay, so GPS simply works with triangulation using ground towers. So you need 3 ground towers to determine a coordinate point system, for example, to determine your position on Earth. So it's all using ground towers. GPS.
That's VOR, not GPS.
GPS is literally using triangulation
VOR
of ground
is
towers.
Radio waves transmitted by those ground towers.
And again, I'm not making this up. You can look this up. Over 97% of communication here on Earth is done through undersea cables. That's the internet and ground towers.
Yeah.
Over 97% of our communication here. So all of GPS that everyone uses in their car when you go to the market, when you go anywhere, and you're using GPS on your phone, is using ground towers. It's not using satellites.
What about the 3%?
The 3%, in my opinion, is high altitude drones, satelloons. Yes, satelloons, which are giant helium balloons that have satellites attached to them.
But if you said that
And these balloons can stay up for like 6 to 9 months in the sky. And the Army uses these.
20 miles up in the air.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they use hot air balloons and they're in the sky. You won't be able to see them right now.
But what about the ISS?
What about it?
Why can I see it?
Why can you see it or why can't you see it?
Why can I see it and why is it imaged?
I would say you're seeing a light. I would say that image that your friend took, or I wouldn't even say your friend or somebody you... Who is that person that took that person?
He's an astronomer.
So you don't know him personally, right?
I can contact him.
But like, point being is that whatever image that was, in my... No, yeah, so in my opinion, the ISS, if there is something above us traversing, it's not in outer space. It's within the Earth atmosphere.
You sense a light, right?
Whatever it is, I don't know what it is, but it's within the Earth atmosphere. It's not in outer space.
So if it's a light, why can it go behind the Earth's shadow and become invisible?
If it's a light, go behind the Earth's shadow. Can you explain?
Because you can observe the ISS, right? You can observe it if it's being lit up by the sun.
Sure.
And it can go behind the Earth's shadow and it can become invisible because you can no longer see it because it's not being lit up. And so the ISS actually can't be viewed every time it flies over because when it's in the Earth's shadow, for example, we'll say it's like 10 p.m., right? When it's in the Earth's shadow, we cannot see it.
Okay.
But when it's around like right after sunset, we'll say like 6 p.m. or 5 p.m. depending on the standard time. Or,
yeah.
You know, you can see it because it's lit up because it's at a height where the sun can illuminate it.
Sure.
But you can I've watched it. I've followed it across the sky, and I can see it dip below into the Earth's shadow. And so if it's a light, it should stay illuminated the whole time. And also, I have photos of Starlink satellites going over my pictures, ruining my pictures of the Orion Nebula.
Right.
And so I don't know.
This will be the number to prove. You kind of avoided it, but it's fine. You couldn't have an explanation for this.
I just don't think it's true.
But I'm gonna give you the number one proof that debunks the globe. You believe.
Can we start with the ISS?
Well, the ISS is relevant. It doesn't prove the shape of the Earth.
Well, it's relevant as in it shows that we have things that are orbiting.
Sure, I would accept that there is stuff above us. I wouldn't say they're orbiting the Earth. I would say they're circling the Earth above us.
If it's circling, why does it follow a straight, or it doesn't follow a straight trajectory? You can see it curve sometimes, and other times it'll go straight overhead, and other times it'll curve overhead.
Yeah, obviously it has different trajectories.
It's not even visible.
Point being is, in my opinion, even if, okay, let's say there was something above us, you're saying that proves the globe to you because I've seen images from the ISS. So if I see something above and it's the ISS, then your conclusion is that the Earth is a globe because the ISS is real. That's not a good conclusion to me.
There's something in the sky.
It's not reasonable.
Going so fast it would burn up if it was in the atmosphere. So it has to be in a spot where there's no air or friction to slow it down.
Since you accept all of this information that you're getting from other sources, do you accept the information that's telling you about the size of the Earth?
I think it could be misleading.
Okay, because this information is coming from NASA, it's coming from the mainstream. These numbers are coming from them. You're completely avoiding it and talking about lights in the sky.
Well,
but these numbers, when put into test in real life, will show that there is no physical curvature of the Earth.
You can fact check it.
Yeah, please.
What should I look up?
Radius of the Earth first.
Radius of the Earth.
Yeah.
Proving flat.
No. Just look up at the radius of the Earth. And how about this? How much curvature there should be in 3 miles?
Well, I'm not sure.
That's what I'm saying. Because you don't believe me that it should be 6 feet.
Okay, radius is 4,000. That's correct.
Yeah. How much curvature there should be in 6 feet? with the
How much curvature in 6 feet?
in 3 miles. How much curvature in 3 miles? Yeah, it should be 6 feet. Because that's one thing that you're kind of holding back on, which is fine.
72 inches is 6 feet.
Yes, exactly. And it should be 66 feet in 10 miles. Now imagine a 10-mile lake with a 66-foot drop, which is about the size of this building. That's retarded. People believe that the Earth curves 66 feet in 10 miles.
Are you talking about
that's retarded.
Euclidean geometry?
Euclidean geometry is another proof that shows that there is no curvature of the Earth.
Okay, because
yes.
Just to play the
what I'm talking about is this right there behind it. This one.
Yeah, right. Just to play the devil's advocate.
Sure, please.
I've heard, in Europe, they're like trying to do like science experiments, and for some of these experiments, I think they're trying to look at subatomic particles,
okay.
and in order to subatomic particles,
sure.
They have to construct very large buildings that are very straight.
Sure.
Okay. But over the course of many miles.
Yeah.
So the video I watched was telling me that like when they were engineering it, they had to account for the drop.
The Earth's curve, supposedly.
Right,
okay, sure.
But
that has to be like the only engineer ever to claim that.
Well, there's like multiple of those too,
okay.
And it's got to be perfectly straight. But like they got to account for like the drop. So I'm struggling to include this. I don't know, this like video into my like current worldview, because I'm not so sure about like. I'm not so sure about like how you would engineer something like that.
Well, again, if you look again, when they build there's a 100-mile long bridge in China. I forgot what the name of it is. It's a 100-mile long bridge over a body of water.
That's right. Yeah.
They did not take account of over a mile of curvature, which they should have. At 100 miles, there should be over a mile and a half of curvature that they should have taken account for, which they didn't.
Okay.
So.
Because like when you're driving on
yes,
it, it's like straight.
Yes,
right?
exactly,
Okay,
exactly. So again, the physics of water. Again, at the end of the day, water requires a container. The water will always take the shape of the container, but the surface will always equalize. It will always form a horizontal, a level. So the oceans and every lake on Earth is no different. So the oceans are containing the water.
What about like the tides though?
Yeah, the tides, in my opinion,
is that like just like minor like movements?
It's minor movement of the ocean, in my opinion, but yeah, it has to do with the upward push of the Earth, in my opinion.
The what?
The upward. So the Earth, I know you believe that gravity is a pulling force of the Earth, but the reality is the Earth pushing up against you, and there's tests that can show that.
Okay. Okay. So
yeah,
like if I drop this, I'm
yes.
not dropping it. It's like
the Earth coming up to meet it. Okay. Yes, I'm glad you get that, because a lot of people weren't getting that for some reason.
Wait, does that mean like everything is like flat? Like
everything's level and it's moving up in one direction.
Oh, so everything is on one plane.
Yes, and everything
with like limited, vertical and limited.
Well, I don't know how high we can vertically go.
You're just saying like something like 20 miles or something.
That's how high aircraft can fly, because the aircraft requires to push off of the air, and the air has to be a certain density. Right. The higher you elevate, the less dense the air becomes. Okay. So aircraft cannot push off of it anymore after like 25 miles.
Oh, so like nothing.
Nothing can push off of the atmosphere after 25 miles. So you can't go higher than that. NASA claimed to do so, but they're bullshitters. They're liars. Yeah.
Have you thought about what kind of thing could break through that 20-25 mile barrier? Because I'd imagine that this is
it's a physical impossibility, in my opinion.
Okay.
There's some things that are physically impossible here on Earth. Would you accept or deny that?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. Can you walk on water?
No, you can't.
No, it's a physical impossibility. So anybody show me a video or an image of someone walking on water, I automatically know that you're lying to me,
highest altitude
or it's a trick.
Amateur rocket.
So the globe Earth is no different. The globe Earth it defies physics.
I see.
Yeah, sorry.
The highest altitude amateur rocket was the USC Rocket Propulsion Laboratory's Aftershock 2, which reached a record-breaking 89 miles above the Earth.
Sure. Yeah, I've heard of stories like that. The Go Fast rocket, was it?
The Aftershock 2.
Aftershock 2. Okay, there's another one. Go Fast rocket supposedly went up like 70-something miles, which again, a lot of these companies that work with NASA, they work with special effects as well. So I wouldn't trust them. But again, if you want to trust them, that's fine.
So I want to get to the
Sure.
Why would everyone in the entire Earth have to lie about the shape of the Earth?
Well, I wasn't lying when I believed it.
I know, but why would they have to lie about it? Why would these companies have to cover up? Why would NASA have to cover up the ISS? Why would the government have to cover up GPS? Why would these satellites?
Let me ask you this: why would anyone lie about anything?
Well, usually they have something to gain from it.
Yeah, so they're definitely. First of all, NASA gets $70 million every day from tax dollars.
But NASA's been having its funding cut every single year.
No, it's actually increasing. It's increasing.
But it used to make up half of our total budget in the 1960s.
You could, sure.
It's been going down ever since.
It's increasing. Sure, you could say the value of the dollar has decreased. So based on that, maybe it has decreased, but the number has been increasing. So right now we're paying NASA over $25 billion a year, which equates to over $70 million a day. So they're taking all of this money in every day just to show us cartoons on the TV screen. So they're definitely stealing a bunch of money. That's for sure. Second, they're doing it for control. So the globe Earth is a cheap shot on our common sense, because if you're willing to believe the globe Earth, then that means you're not using your common sense. So you're going to be more easily controllable. So it's about control at the end of the day.
But isn't denying the ISS and photos taken through telescopes denying common sense?
That's not, no. I'm not denying that you're taking pictures of something up above. Now, I would say it's not common sense to go from that to the Earth being a globe now. Because I seen something in the sky, now the Earth is a globe. I would say that's not common sense.
Can I say that?
That is what he's saying. What is he saying? You explain to me then.
He's telling you that the way things move in the sky and the way how we perceive them correlate to how the Earth is shaped.
No, it correlates to perspective. That's the only thing. He's switching the curve of the Earth to perspective. That's what a lot of globers and flat earthers do.
Half of the stuff you debunk is to perspective.
No. Because like when you're saying like, oh, I can't see China from here, so that means the Earth has to be curving. And I'm telling you, well, we have a limit to how far we can see. That's perspective. He's saying that things, how we see them, obviously has to do with perspective because we're seeing it. We're not measuring it physically. So when he's saying that, oh, sometimes it goes down like this, sometimes it goes down that way, it's just perspective. It doesn't prove the shape of the Earth.
That's why your perspective matters.
Yeah, perspective matters, exactly. That explains away his proofs of the globe. It's not a proof of the globe because perspective can explain it.
He's not telling you it's proof of the globe. He's just telling you that.
Well, if it's not proof of the globe, why is he bringing it up?
I just want to ask, what happens to the rockets after the launch?
Well, if you pull up a rocket, image of a rocket, they always curve. They always have a parabolic.
Because they have to enter orbit.
Yeah, that's what they say. They're saying that they're curving with the Earth's curve to exit the Earth's atmosphere. But in reality, if they went straight up, it's going to crash or stop or something.
It's not to exit the Earth's atmosphere, so that way you can follow a curve, right?
Yeah.
It's going up. To enter orbit, you need to have a vector going this direction. And then you also need to be falling a certain amount so you can fall into orbit. If you go too far in one vector, you leave the gravitational pull of the Earth. If you go too far up, you can leave the gravitational pull of the Earth. So that's why all the rockets go in that direction.
Yeah, well, what happens is, in my opinion, again, I can't prove this. Again, it doesn't prove anything in my opinion. But what happens with rockets is the reason why they fly them like that. And eventually, if you look at the camera that's recording the rocket, it starts up like this, right, vertical. Then the camera sees the rocket go like this. Then it goes horizontal. Yes. And then it starts to go down. If you look at the camera.
Things go horizontal.
Oh yeah, you guys have a flyer? Here, let me give you one.
Well, of course it goes down because it needs to follow the orbit of the Earth.
Yeah.
It needs to follow the curvature of the Earth.
Right. So my point is that what happens is the rockets eventually go out of view where nobody can see them anymore, and they simply just land back on Earth.
But they can see them at a different point in the Earth. They can watch them fly over.
Yeah.
Sorry to put it, but
yeah, so...
You want my Instagram stream or my astrophotography? Because I took some... These are the photos I took.
Can you tell me what you think about this?
Yes.
So,
yes.
I've been thinking about...
Yeah, go for it. That's why I'm here.
And, personally what I think is that... my friends have been saying, it's all flat, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like a cone. It's like on top of a cone.
What?
Right.
You have friends that are saying this?
Yeah. It's like
oh
on
my
top
god.
Of the, that's all the underground stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
What did his friends say?
It's a
that
cone.
the Earth is flat but a cone.
No.
What?
I don't know. It's like at the top, you know.
Yeah.
That's the Earth, right? And then everything under that is all of the underground. And then, so when he was saying earlier about the ISS having different trajectories,
sure.
I also can imagine, the Earth, the cone doesn't stop at the Earth, right?
All right, man, a pleasure, man. You too.
It might extend beyond, beyond the surface of the Earth and go, vertical that way. So when you're saying the ISS has different trajectories, I can imagine it. Sorry, when you're saying the ISS has different trajectories,
you guys have a flyer? You want to check it out?
I can imagine it that it is kind of
it follows.
It's in the same everything's in there that I talk about.
It follows the same trajectory, but
or
you can see it from
different ways. Yeah.
Yes.
I can imagine it. Kind of hitting hitting the side of the curve, and it kind of changes the way it turns. based off of the outer curve of the cone.
Well,
So,
do we have a sphere on us at all?
Yeah, I
I'll
can
show
use
you
it.
how it orbits.
Sure. So did you confirm the numbers?
Thank you, boss. I'll get back to you on that.
All right.
So it's kind of like this, right? So the ISS trajectory is like this line going around the ball. See, it's at 45 degrees.
Yeah.
So it keeps on going like that, but it doesn't spin with the Earth.
There you go.
Right?
Take it with you, man.
It stays
Yeah.
like that constant.
Yeah, if you have any questions, man, just don't be shy. You can ask me.
So
Yeah, any questions,
For
man.
example,
Yeah, I'm just gonna check the
let's
chat
say
real quick.
We're right here, right? Or let's say it's like night, okay?
Yes.
So we're right here.
I'm sorry?
Are you sitting here?
Oh, no, I'm not a student here. Yeah, I come here a lot though to challenge the narrative, and I go to USC and UCLA a lot. Yeah. So I'm all over the major universities here. Yeah. Talking about the shape of the Earth. You've heard of flat Earth, right? Yeah, you heard of flat Earth. So yeah, flat Earth is a psyop, believe it or not. So over most flat Earthers online.
Do you have another flyer?
Another flyer, yes.
The sun can see it, or the sun's shining on it, so you can see the ISS from there. Right? You can watch it.
So yeah, these flat earthers claim the Earth is motionless. So that's the psyop. The fact is the Earth is level, flat, you could say, but level, but it's pushing up. The Earth is literally moving up through space right now. So that's what gravity is, because a lot of people think gravity is a pulling force of the Earth, but the reality is gravity is a pushing force of the Earth. So the Earth is literally pushing up against us right now, not pulling you down towards it.
So like, wait, I have a question.
Yes.
So like, I think I get it. The I can see it. So it's like this. Like if I drop it down, it's like doesn't this like this as well?
Yeah. So what happens is people believe that when you drop this object moved down through space to meet the table, but in reality, it's the table that moved up through space to meet the object. So that's what's happening. That's the reality. That's why gravity as a pulling force is just a theory, because they've never measured an actual force in free fall accelerating. Yeah, that doesn't exist. So it's the other way around. And that and that debunks the globe, because if the Earth was moving up and the Earth is a globe, then up is relative in every direction away, right? If the Earth was moving up and it was a globe, it would just have to be expanding, explode. It wouldn't work. So yeah, the Earth is pushing up, and that's the number one proof that debunks the globe. And that's why these motionless flat Earthers, they deny the upward push of the Earth, because they're subliminally defending the globe, because that's the controlled opposition. So they're like the two sides of the same coin.
I'm curious, are there like different types of flat earthers?
Yes, so there's emotionless flat earthers. There's, I guess, I wouldn't call myself a name, but I say the Earth is level because it's moving up. So there's upwards rising earthers, you could call them. And then there's a third option now that they're claiming the Earth is accelerating up. So there's like a division there, like how the Earth is moving. I don't know the exact motion of the Earth. All I know that it is moving up. So I don't know if it's accelerating. I don't know if it's, the speed of it. I don't know none of that. All I know that it is moving up relative to us.
I see.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know too much about
no,
the
man.
and stuff.
No, I'm telling you, man. This is a lot. No, yeah. No, I appreciate the honesty at least. No, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just here just to listen to y'all.
Definitely appreciate that. Yeah.
All right. Well, appreciate it. Have a nice day.
Yeah, you too, man.
You too.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care. Yeah, you had a question? Sorry.
What does this have to do with, are you smarter than the fifth grade?
I actually start with two very easy questions to see if people get them. And then based on the questions, then I move on to the subject. So the questions are very elementary, kind of to introduce the subject. Yeah. And then I get into the subject about the shape of the Earth.
So, I didn't read the whole thing. So what do you believe?
So the Earth is not a globe. So you believe the Earth is a globe, right? A ball? The Earth? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So the fact is, it's not. It's actually a level plane. It's just an extended level plane.
Yeah, but you know how like the ocean moves based on the moon, but it moves as it's spinning. How does the waves move?
So the waves, in my opinion, happen. Well, I don't know exactly how the waves happen, to be honest. But the oceans are level relative to the vertical force of the Earth, which is a push, not a pull. So all the motion from the ocean could be from wind as well. The waves, right? Wind. But yeah, the waves don't really prove nothing about the shape of the Earth, right? But the levelness of the oceans does.
Do you believe just Earth is a globe?
Yeah.
Do you believe other planets?
So all the other lights in the sky, for example, this is what they look like. These are stars and planets.
Those are unfocused stars and planets.
Sure. So nobody knows what they actually are. So I would say when it comes to the stars, it's a red herring. It's a false argument when it comes to the shape of the Earth. Because nobody knows what they actually are. We can just look at them.
But when we look at the sun, it's round.
Yeah, sure.
But why?
I don't know why it's round. All I know that it is round. But to assume that the Earth must be round because the sun is round, I feel like that's
But the planets
that's unreasonable.
are round, so it would be weird if the Earth was just flat, but everything else was round.
Well, you think the orbit around, but in my opinion, the lights in the sky are fixed in some kind of they're constant. That's why they're called constellations. And I say the sky rotates. We don't rotate. So the sky is like a chandelier, you could say, and it's rotating. Like you know how a chandelier will rotate in your house. I would say the stars are no different. It's like the sky is somehow rotating, and we're not.
But here's the thing about the lights. Is I've taken photos of the planets. I took this last night, and I can confirm it's not a light. You can also see the moons will go over it, and it'll cast a shadow on the planet.
What is this?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a buoyant ball. So this shows how buoyancy works.
Okay.
So buoyancy will always follow the direction of the force. So for example, if I apply a force this way, the ball gets pushed with the force, right? Because it's buoyant.
Pressure, right?
Yeah, because the water inside is more dense than the ball. So whatever direction the water gets pushed, that's the direction the ball is also going to get pushed because the water is going to push it in that direction. Because water is more dense than that ball.
Isn't it moving because you've connected to that stick, which is
Even if I disconnected it and I moved it, the ball will get pushed in the direction of the force.
Well, like it's stuck in there, so like it would go that way if it's stuck in there, right?
Yeah, but my point is that it doesn't stay vertical. It moves with the direction of the force, right? Because that's what buoyancy is. It's a pressure. What is that? That proves that when you have a helium balloon here on Earth and you release it, it shows that a helium balloon is being pushed up by the air, which is also being pushed up.
Wait, but it's not like moving. I'm having trouble understanding.
Yeah.
Wait, what was your point with the ball? Sorry.
Yeah. So this is a buoyant object.
Okay.
It's less dense than the water that surrounds it. So depending on the direction that I apply a force,
The ball is less dense?
Yeah, the ball is less dense.
It's filled with
air.
Okay.
This ball has air, but it's surrounded with water, which is more dense. So depending on the direction I apply a force to the water, that's the direction that the water is going to push the ball, because the water is more dense. So the water is able to push the ball in whatever direction I force it, right? Because the water is more dense, it's able to push the ball.
Well, metal is more dense than sand, but sand can, with enough sand and enough pressure, you can push the metal.
Sure, we're talking about fluids though, like air and water.
But
air and water.
This water pressure, you're putting pressure on the water to push it forward.
Yes, and then the water is able to push the ball forward.
Okay, so.
Right, but if I put a steel ball in here and I do that, the steel ball is going to get left behind. It's not going to move forward.
That's because
the water's not dense enough to push the metal ball.
The weight of this water is
here, let me show
more than the weight of the ball.
I did the experiment
if you have a steel ball, the steel requires more force, or the steel will require more force to push on it.
So the steel ball gets left. Sorry about that. The steel ball gets left behind, and the buoyant object gets pushed with the force.
That's because the steel ball is heavier.
Yes, exactly. So the water's not dense enough to push it. But if you put mercury in here, then the mercury might be dense enough to push the steel ball forward.
So what's the point?
My point is that buoyancy will always follow the direction of the force, because a buoyant object is subject to the direction that the air or water that surrounds it is moving.
Well, I'll just say that the ball is heavier, it's going to require more force to be pushed forward.
No, it's because the water's not dense enough to push. It doesn't matter how much force you use, the water's not going to be dense enough to push. What you're going to get if you apply more force, the ball's going to swing back even faster. The steel ball?
Yeah.
Yeah. The ball, water.
But if you have maybe a lot more water.
You need thicker water. You need more dense water to be able to push the steel ball.
You need more mass.
Wait, have you done this experiment?
This is me.
Have you done it with slime? Like, I feel like slime is
very thick. Sure.
Right? Yeah. I'm saying you need more energy to push the ball. That's it. You need more. The water needs to provide more force to the ball, and you could do that by having you could have the thicker liquid, or you could have more water applying the force on it.
And here, I'm doing it with air as well. Air is more dense than helium, so air is able to push the helium in that direction, but the air is not dense enough to push the apple, so the apple gets left behind.
That's because
it's the same principles.
Due to inertia.
Yeah, due to inertia, yes.
Require more force to be pushed forward.
Yes, but it's going to require something solid to push the apple because the air is not solid enough to push it. The air's not dense enough.
With enough air, you can push the apple. It's like if you have...
If you put a fan and then blow the fan, then yeah, eventually you're going to push it. But inside a container, and the air in the container as well, the same amount of force that the container is applying to the air, that force will never be able to push an apple, for example, if the air is also moving along with the container.
So what... Sorry, say that one more time.
So in this container, right, applying a force in this direction, and the air is inside the container as well, the air can only move so fast. It can only move the same speed the container is moving.
Which way is this going?
It's going this way.
Okay, so yeah, the apple swings back.
Swings back, and the air is being pushed forward, and because air is more dense than helium, it also pushes the helium with it.
The air is being pushed.
Yeah, the air is being pushed forward because it's trapped inside this container, and I'm accelerating the container forward. So all of the air that's inside of the container is also being pushed forward through space.
Oh yeah, so it's showing that this is perpendicular to the force.
Sure.
Okay, so
yes.
Since this is lighter than the air, it's going to be perpendicular to the force of it.
Yes.
And since this is heavier, it's going to go the opposite direction.
Yeah. In other words, the helium balloon will always react in the same direction the air is being pushed. That's fact. That's buoyancy.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Same thing with here.
I can see
the ball will always react in the same direction the water is being pushed. So if I'm going to push the water this way, then the buoyant object is going to follow the direction the water is pushing it.
So this proves
that buoyancy always follows the direction of the force. So what does that mean, right? Well, it means that if I have a helium balloon here on Earth and I release it, it goes up, right? It goes up because why?
Because we're going up.
Yes. Okay, the air is more dense than helium and is able to push it up. But what's pushing up the air? Because the air can't move itself. It's the literal ground that's pushing up the air, that's pushing up the helium. So gravity as a pulling force doesn't exist. That's why it's just a theory. So gravity is actually a pushing force of the Earth. So the Earth is pushing up against it right now. And that's why we have buoyancy.
The helium balloon goes up. You say it goes up
because the air is pushing it up. Yeah, and air is more dense than helium.
Isn't the helium just less dense, so that's why it's going
No, it goes up because it's less dense, but you also require a force. The force dictates the direction of the balloon as well. You need a force for motion, and you need a force for direction as well. The density differences, like if you have a empty space and you have air and water, like they're not going to move relative to each other. You're going to need a force first, and then they're going to dictate.
So you're asking where the potential energies, where the kinetic energy is coming from?
Yes, the force. Where's the force coming from that pushes a helium balloon?
Okay, I see what you're getting.
Yeah, and it comes from the Earth, but it's a pushing force of the Earth. So it's a literal upwards motion of the Earth that's giving us a buoyant effect.
Let's see what we can find.
Yeah, so that debunks gravity and the whole heliocentric model, because the globe Earth requires people to believe in a pulling force, because if it's the other way around and it's the Earth moving up, then a globe Earth would just fall apart. It would explode.
I've heard that in nature, like pushing is a lot easier than like pulling.
Yes, well, a pulling force in nature doesn't exist. Everything that has motion here on Earth, from a combustion engine to more electric motors, everything that has motion here on Earth requires a push. Everything is pressure. There is no such thing as a pulling force.
Okay,
it doesn't exist.
It says that the force comes from displacement of the air.
Yeah, and what causes the displacement of the air?
So the balloon will be displaced because there's an equal and opposite direction. There's an equal and opposite reaction. So the air will get pushed downwards, and the helium balloon will get pushed upwards.
That defies physics. The air is being pushed up, and that's why helium balloon pushes up.
No, the air is being pushed downwards, and the helium is being pushed up. It's an opposite direction.
How is the air being pulled down or pushed down?
Pushed down.
How is the air being pushed down?
Because of gravity.
So you believe in the pulling force of gravity then?
Yes. Well, I believe in the pulling force of gravity, but gravity can also be overtaken by enough force to go upwards. It's just like how wings work on an airplane. If you get enough pressure going on the bottom,
okay, let me
propel it upwards.
Fair enough. Let me ask you this, a more direct question. Okay. What's pushing up the helium balloon when it goes up?
Well, it's an equal opposite. It's just buoyancy. It's the equal and opposite direction. Reaction from the air being pushed downwards. It's being propelled upwards.
Okay, but what's pushing up the helium balloon? Because I could tell you that in this experiment, it was the air that pushed the helium balloon, right? Would you say it's the air pushing up a helium balloon here on Earth? You have to.
Well, yeah.
You want to know how we know that? Because if we have a vacuum and we suck the air out of the vacuum and we put a helium balloon there, guess what? It's not going to rise because there's no air to push it up. Exactly. So there's a direct correlation with the air here on Earth that's pushing up helium balloons. So my question is, what's pushing up the air to be able to push up the helium? Because
that's because in a vacuum chamber, helium would be denser than nothing. Because nothing is as dense as nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a direct correlation with the air pushing up a helium balloon. That's my point.
Yeah,
right?
Because it needs buoyancy.
So you're saying that air is able to push up a helium even though the air is being pushed down?
Yeah.
So air is being pushed down, but then air is able to push helium up in the opposite direction. That doesn't make sense.
Well, it's just like, let's say you have a cylinder, right?
Sure.
And you have an airtight ceiling, okay? Yeah. And let's say you slam it downwards, right?
Sure.
The air's being compressed.
Yeah.
And it's going to put some resistance on it, right? Now let's say you're at let's say you have something at the very bottom of that tube, right? It's very heavy, it's very light, okay? But heavier than the air. So it's going to be at the very bottom of the tube, right? But once you let it go, the air pressure is going to shoot it upwards. Kind of just like how with fluids, right? If you have something really compressed in a can, we'll say like a soda you shake up, right?
Sure.
And let's say you have your hand over the soda can that's shooken up. So
Yeah, sure.
Or sorry, we'll just make it simple. Coke and Mentos. You have a tube, like this one, we'll say.
Sure.
You put Coke in there, throw some Mentos in, and then you put a little plastic cap on top, very light cap. And when you let it go, the cap's going to shoot off because the pressure down here is causing it to go up.
Yeah, there's an upwards push.
So kind of like how the air pressure is causing a helium balloon to go upwards because of buoyancy. And so that's why helium hits a limit as balloons go higher and higher up.
Yeah, they reach a
air to displace.
Yeah, it reaches equilibrium, I would say.
It's kind of like ships on an ocean.
Yeah, it reaches equilibrium.
How you need a certain amount of something to keep it propelled upwards, buoyant.
Right.
So like the ocean, that's why as a ship goes further down, you know what I mean?
Sure.
It wants to come up further.
Yeah.
Because it's displacing more water.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And the water pressure is remaining, pretty equal around the surface area. Or well, it's actually it's getting more and more pressurized as you go further down. But that's what's causing it to propel upwards.
So it's the same principle as if you have a beach ball, right? And we submerge that beach ball into a pool, for example, right?
Okay.
Would you agree that there's going to be an upwards push if we hold it down there?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. If we take that pool, right? Because the pool is connected to the earth, right? So there's an upwards push there, right?
Yes.
If we get that pool and elevate it on a helicopter, right? We take that beach ball underneath the pool again, but this time we release the pool into free fall. The beach ball is still underneath the pool, right? Once the pool is in free fall, that upwards push is not going to be felt through anymore because that pool is not going to be connected to the earth anymore. So that upwards buoyant effect of the beach ball trying to move up is not going to be there anymore. So the beach ball is going to stay down even if you let it go while the pool is in free fall because that upwards push of the earth is no longer there because the pool is not connected to the earth anymore. And this is a test that anyone can do, and it's there.
That's because they all have kinetic energy that's being dropped, so they're all gaining that. And also, while the water's in free fall, it can't affect the beach ball per se because everything it's weightless.
Yes,
right?
in free fall, everything's weightless.
It's being dropped, it's weightless. So the water can't apply really a pressure to the ball to send it upwards.
Exactly. I'm glad you said that everything in free fall is weightless because in order to have weight, you require a force. And the fact that there is no weight in free fall and there's no buoyant effect either, that shows that there is no force in free fall. And that's my point. Free fall shows that there is no force of gravity or any force.
There can be force.
The force is only present when you're connected to the earth literally, physically.
Well, that's because right now I'm exerting a weight on the earth.
Yes,
and the earth
I would agree.
is exerting on me. I'm able to keep myself upwards.
Here's the thing. You believe, here's what I'll tell you. I'm telling you that it's the weight that you feel right now, it's because the earth is pushing up on you and your mass has inertia. So it's resisting that push. You think it's the other way around where gravity is pulling you down to the earth and the ground is resisting you. You believe that, right? That you're being pulled down to the earth and the ground is resisting you, right? That's why you have weight. I'm telling you that it's the ground pushing up against you and because your mass has inertia, is resisting that upwards push and that's why you have weight. So it's just the other way around, in my opinion.
The earth is pushing up on us.
Yes, and your body wants to remain motionless. So that's why it's resisting that upwards push. So you have weight now. You have a compression. Because
what about let's say, everything's on the plane, right?
Yes.
And then instead of we're going up, like everything else, we're stationary, and then everything else
accelerates down. Yeah, that's motionless flat earthers and globe earthers. That's the false dichotomy. That's what they're debating. They're trying to debate what's causing this acceleration down of matter, but in reality, matter doesn't accelerate down. They're debating something that's not even true.
Okay, I see.
That's why that's the controlled opposition.
Okay.
They're arguing about something that's not even true. You know what I'm saying? So the reality is that Earth is moving up. That's why flat earthers and globe earthers are never going to acknowledge that because they're in the same camp.
So what force is keeping Jupiter's moons in orbit around it?
I wouldn't say... I don't know nothing about the lights in the sky or the stars. I have no knowledge about it. If I'm being honest. But to be fair, that has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth.
They can't be lights because they have shadows. And they can... Over the course of years, you can watch it. From our perspective, it gets like a crescent shape. In fact, Venus is never full. Because if Venus is full, it means it's on the opposite side of the sun.
Right.
And we can't see it. But you can watch it. It can go from a sharp crescent, which is by our Earth, to being kind of like a half moon. and then it goes behind the sun. You can't really view it.
Sure. There's a lot of observations that I would admit I don't have an explanation for, but I would say those observations prove nothing about the shape of the Earth, in my opinion. Physically,
I think
you have to assume.
I think at the very minimum, it proves that they're solid objects.
I wouldn't say that either, but
well, if they're lights, then how can they? Like Venus can go over the sun, can block out the sun. Venus can have these different moon phases, or the moon has different phases itself. And also,
here's the thing: have you seen stars being photographed through the moon? That's what shows to me that the moon, because somebody was being photographed. Yeah, there's literally images of stars being photographed through the moon. But here's, how like sometimes you have a crescent moon, right?
Yes.
And then you basically are able to take a picture through the dark
like
side.
The flag of Turkey.
Kind of, yes, like that. But you're able to see, take a picture of a star right where the center of the.
Do you have a photo of that?
Oh, I don't. To be fair, I don't focus on those kind of proofs because they don't prove anything. But since you're bringing that up, I'm just saying that the sun, the moon, in my opinion, is not a solid object because you could take pictures through it.
I've seen stars go behind the shaded part of the moon.
Sure.
Through a telescope, I can see the shaded part of the moon.
Okay, I would say that, sure, okay, but that doesn't prove anything about the shape of the Earth,
so
in my opinion.
It's not a light. You can't have a
You
star.
think there's like a structure that, enables all these things to be true? Simultaneously. Because, perhaps it's not like it's kind of like a parabola where there's like a negative side and a positive side.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Well, I'd say to that,
there's that one possibility.
I'd say to that, we can both look through the same telescope and see the moon go over a star on the shaded side. I could bring it here, down right here, you could watch it. And there's also been videos of Mars going behind the moon.
What about
see Jupiter going
satellite
behind
images of Earth?
Because the moon is a physical object.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But why?
He says that.
Well, again, it's because they're trying to keep the light going.
Yeah, but why would they want to keep the light going? What benefit do they have?
So anybody that is trying to lie to someone for anything, right? It's usually to take advantage of it, right? Why do people lie? It's usually to get ahead, right? To take advantage of someone.
But why would they need to get ahead?
Well, because if they could lie to you about the shape of the Earth, for example, something that's very fundamental to us here on Earth, we all experience the Earth every day, we walk on it, right? If they could lie to us about the shape of the Earth into believing something absurd, then that means they could lie to us about anything. So it's about gaining our trust and about controlling us at the end of the day. It's about control. So we're just astronauts are 100% right. 100%.
But overall, why do you think what benefit?
Well, they're getting paid a lot of money. Astronauts get paid millions, I would assume, a year, right? Millions and millions and millions.
But it is also because it's a high-risk job.
Not only that, but do you know that everybody that works for NASA has to sign an NDA? Or anybody that has contracts with NASA or government, they have to sign NDAs. You know what that is, right?
So what about it's associated with that country's government?
Sure, but regardless, they can't. Nobody could speak about what they work.
Because it is classified
sure.
information.
My point is that people that work for NASA, for example, and JPL and all of that, and mission control, they just have to believe what they're told. They don't have to necessarily be lying. In my opinion, astronauts are lying because they're the ones that are supposedly going into outer space, so they have to be 100%. Everybody underneath them doesn't have to. So they could be lying to us again just to basically gain our trust and basically control us, so that we do what we're told more easy, and we don't push back. That's what it's about. It's a cheap shot on our common sense when we're very young, to trust authority over our own common sense, and that's what it's about. Just so they can control us easier. Because the way I see it is, we live in tax farms. That's where we live. We live in tax farms, and they're able to dictate how we live, how much we pay for land, how much we pay for housing, all of that, because we're just compliant, because we trust them, because we think they're smarter than us. So that's what it's about. It's about them putting themselves above us by dumbing us down.
Do you believe the Earth is flat?
It's a level plane. Yeah, I don't believe it. I know it. I know it's a level plane.
What about on the ocean, right? If it's level, isn't there an end point?
Yes, there is.
Then how come people haven't
Because there's an Antarctic treaty that prevents people from actually exploring the Earth south.
I just want to bring up.
So in my opinion, yeah, there is some kind of physical barrier we're being contained in. We'll reach the end of the Earth eventually if we go in a straight line. I don't know what this wall will look like or what the container looks like, but that's just my opinion. 100%.
Okay.
Yes.
So you said that
there's stars sometimes that could be seen behind the moon.
Like where?
Well, obviously you have to find them, but I've seen them.
I've never seen that through a telescope.
Yeah, I have. I've seen it during the day, actually, not at night, but during the day I've seen an image.
Stars in front of the moon.
Yeah, like through the moon, for example.
That's
through
impossible.
The moon. Exactly.
This is a solid surface.
That's what you believe. I don't think the moon is solid.
Is this a light or?
Yeah, I don't know what the moon is. It's very fascinating.
Because I've cranked up the exposure so you can see the dark side.
Sure.
And so I'm saying this is a solid surface. You can't see through it. But there have been videos, and I've observed you can see Mars going behind the moon.
Fair enough.
And you can see other planets going behind the moon. It's called a transit.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. I don't deny that. I don't see how that debunks the level Earth and proves the globe. I just don't see it.
I'm going at some of your other theories like geocentric.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I would say it's geocentric, but I don't know the exact position we are on Earth relative to the stars. So therefore, I wouldn't know what we should be seeing.
But also, the planets being lights.
Yeah.
You can observe Saturn's rings have changed their angle over the course of time because of Earth.
Yeah, that's the thing. When it comes to the stars and astronomy, I don't know much about the motion of the stars above us, I guess, But at the end of the day, again, if the Earth was truly a sphere with a pulling force of gravity, then we should be able to not only measure that pulling force of gravity, but also measure the curvature of the Earth, which they cannot be. Both of those things cannot be proven.
About the objects being lights theory. What was I going to bring up? Oh, so the moon, all parts of the moon are the same distance from the Earth?
Probably.
Because with the telescope, what happens is you have to focus it using a focus knob to see the right distance, and you can actually observe that the closer part of the moon to us, as in the face-on version of the moon, has a different focus from the further away sides, more like being the further away as a sphere. So like the top and the bottom and the left and the right.
Okay.
They have a different focus length, which shows that it's a different distance away.
Fair enough.
And so I'm trying to see, because I can't believe that these are lights at all.
Okay.
Because they can cast shadows on other planets. Like Jupiter's moons, I've taken photos of the moons have casted shadows on Jupiter. I mean, the moon eclipses the sun every once in a blue moon, no pun intended. You can see the dark side of the moon with a telescope due to Earth shine.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to see how these could possibly be just light sources rather than physical.
Fair enough. I could see your point there. Unfortunately, I wouldn't have the answer for that. At the end of the day, I don't have a model, because a lot of people would say, like, oh, you should make a model and present it to the science community, right, or something like that. And at the end of the day, models are not reality. So if I start making up a model, I'm going to have to start making a lot of assumptions.
I know, it gets complex.
Which I'm trying to avoid. I'm trying to stick to practical physics that anybody can test and prove to themselves. And the practical physics that I came across, I can test for myself, actually is enough to debunk the globe Earth without a shadow of a doubt. So I don't need to create a model to debunk the globe when simple practical physics does that for me. Now, if I start pushing a model, now I'm opening the door to debates, which debates are for ideas. Reality is not up for debate. Reality is what it is. So we can only present what we discover. Again, if I start pushing a model, now we're getting into the debate arena where we start debating ideas back and forth. That's what flat Earth versus globe Earth are doing. They're just having pointless, endless debates about objects accelerating down when they don't even accelerate down. They're coming up with their own theories. And, go for it.
Okay, so you said that you think the objects or whatever in the sky are lights, right?
Sure. I mean, that's what I could see, yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted, real quick, so do you think that, or what do you think light weighs? Or like,
I don't think light is mass.
Okay, so what do you think they're composed of? Or
I have no clue.
No clue?
No clue. It's not mass, I'll tell you that.
Okay,
light
so
is not mass. It's not mass.
So,
okay. Light can also propel light sails.
Light sails?
Light sail is it's a thing that's been invented. Mm-hmm. What it is astronomers have proposed that we have lasers here on Earth. Mm-hmm. We have these probes that have a light sail, basically a big sail, because light actually provides some force. It's barely.
Oh, yeah, I know you're
but it has some force, and so they're thinking that they put these lasers on the light sails and they can propel them extremely fast to go visit other solar systems. But light is extremely tricky. I don't even think people like us have an answer. I don't think he has an answer. Light is incredibly complex to prove anything.
I would agree with that.
It's such a strange object.
Yep.
I mean, Yeah,
very
I
fascinating for sure. Like,
I agree with you, but what I was trying to get into is basically, so you say that light is not composed of mass, or like the objects in the sky are not composed of mass. So then why is it that we can map the sources of these lights to different spectrometries of certain elements on Earth, like hydrogen and helium? Like we can observe the sun, look at the light that it emits.
You're talking about spectroscopy.
Yes, spectroscopy or whatever it's called. Why can we take that and map it to certain elements on Earth that have mass? But while you say that light does not have mass, or objects in the sky don't have mass.
So the question is, how come we can't take that instrument and use it on other masses?
No, I'm asking why they have like any correlation at all to elements on Earth.
You're talking about light?
Yeah.
Right?
Like, because what spectrometry does is you can, like, say you have hydrogen, for example.
Sure.
You can look at the wavelength of hydrogen and say it emits these colors at this wavelength. Like, I think it's like 300 nanometers to 700 nanometers. So you can say, look, hydrogen emits these specific colors on the electromagnetic spectrum. So why is it that we can take that basis and what's the word? We can like map it to the light that emits from the sun.
I actually don't know. I wouldn't know how to answer that question.
Fair enough. It's fine. It's pretty complicated.
I have two topics too.
Sure.
The 24-hour sun that's been observed in Antarctica, and also the 24-hour darkness that can be found on the opposite side of the world during that time. And number two are ships disappearing below the horizon as they sail away due to curvature.
So the boats sailing over the horizon, I don't know if you were here, but I did explain it. So we do have a limit to how far we can see. We do have a limit to a visual acuity that we have. So when something appears to go over the horizon, it's simply going out of perspective. So we do have a limit to how far we can see. And the horizon is simply that. It's the limit of our field of view, pretty much.
But what if I use my telescope down at the beach?
Yes. So when the boat goes out of view or goes over the curve, as you will believe, if you bring out your telescope, and I implore you to do this, you zoom into that boat again, you'll be able to see it again when you increase your zoom, in other words. Because the boat didn't go under a curve, it just went out of distance.
Well, I know with the human eye we can't perceive it.
Exactly.
But with a telescope I can watch it go...
Again, you're going to need a more powerful zoom to bring it back into view. Because even a zoom telescope, it has limits too. It's not infinite. So you're going to be able to see it further, and then eventually you're going to get that perspective again where it appears to go down. But then if you bring out a more powerful zoom, you're going to see it again. And then you're going to get the same effect again.
Why is there a limit on how far I can see at the beach?
Because we have circular, a beach, and then...
Well, we'll say like looking through straight forward.
Yes, at the beach.
Why
compared
is there a limit there to how far we can see?
Well, because we have spherical eyes, so the light entering our eye... Yeah, I could show you a graph.
Well, like through a telescope.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing. Telescopes and cameras, lenses, mimic the eye. They have a curved lens. Here, let me show you real quick. Just to show. I have a graph that shows it really good.
Stars
here we go.
And stuff which are so much further away.
So here, look. I have some perspective drawings, pictures actually. So for example, these two lines, train tracks, we know they don't converge, right? We know these are parallel, right?
Yep.
They appear like they're converging because of perspective.
Yeah.
So again, what happens is this arc, this red arc, simulates our eyeball, right? This blue line will be the center of our eye, right? So if we're observing something, we'll say this is 10 feet above us, right? If we're observing it right above us, like right in front of us right here, then our angle of view entering our eye is going to be up here. If we move that object away from us at the same altitude, but just moved it away from us, eventually what's going to happen, those lines are going to start to drop in our field of view. And guess what's going to happen when it reaches the eye line? It's going to be, that's the horizon. So once you move this object further and further and further and further, eventually you're not going to be able to see it because of perspective. So it's going to appear to go down in your field of view, but not because it's physically going down, it's just moving away from you. And that's why things appear to go down due to perspective.
So are you saying that it's just like...
That's why the sun sets or appears to set. It's because it's moving in a straight line away from us, and it only appears to go down due to perspective, how we see it.
So you're saying it's just like a hypothesis that it doesn't disappear behind the curve? Because you're saying...
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't.
So, okay, so I don't really understand because you're saying it's a hypothesis that it disappears behind the curve, because you're saying that that no lens or whatever we have can see far enough to see it go on forever.
Yeah, exactly. And then plus you have the atmosphere too. Eventually the atmosphere is going to be so thick that you're not going to be able to see through it. So even if we did have an infinite zoom camera, we wouldn't be able to see infinitely because the atmosphere is going to be in the way eventually too.
Okay.
We're going to be seeing through miles and miles and miles and miles of atmosphere, thickness of atmosphere. Eventually we can't see. It's going to be too foggy to see anything.
I feel like then the burden of proof is more so on the flat Earth model, because the curve, like the globe Earth already provides an explanation for that, but the flat Earth is saying that, well, technically it theoretically could, but we don't actually know.
Well, it's perspective. It's as simple as that. We could do tests to replicate these observations on a smaller scale, and we'll get the same results from perspective observations.
At smaller scale, do you mean like human versus like a smaller? Like
so, for example, people think that when a boat goes over the horizon or goes below the, people think that's the curve of the Earth. So the boat's going down like this, right? I can get a really long table, perfectly level, horizontal. I can put a camera at the end of it right here that can see right above the surface. If I have an object and I start moving it away from the camera, eventually it's going to appear to go down a curve, but we know the table's flat. It's because the camera, the angle of light, is not able to enter the camera at that height. We have to elevate the camera to be able to see more.
But
that doesn't mean the table's curved.
The problem with that is that the table and the camera are not like scaled properly to us compared to the size of the Earth.
We could do it though. That's my point. We could scale it properally, like 10-to-1 ratio.
Well, that's another hypothesis or another.
People have done it though. People have.
Really?
Yeah, people have done it.
You know their names?
You just have to look them up.
Well, so you also claim that the sun never actually sets.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes. Yes.
But I can view it through a telescope. I mean, I can get further and further. You can see it setting on the way.
Yeah, no worries, man.
You can see it setting over the ocean.
Yeah.
And you could argue that, you need more powerful telescope, you need more powerful telescope.
Well, here's the thing. I've seen videos, and people record the sun like halfway down the horizon already, bring out the powerful zoom camera, and the sun goes above the horizon. So again, just showing that it's perspective. That literally the sun's already touching the ground, like not halfway, but like literally touching it already. But then you bring out a zoom camera and zoom into the sun, you're able to see a gap between the sun and the horizon again. It goes above.
Well, I can see that.
Yeah, again, it's all perspective, at the end of the day. But that doesn't. Here's the thing: these observations don't prove whether the Earth is flat or a globe. I will admit that it doesn't prove that the Earth is flat, but it doesn't prove that the Earth is a globe. These are just observations.
I think the only way to test that would be to do it myself.
No, do it yourself. But again, a physical measurement of the Earth.
I believe that our eyes can be misleading as to how close something actually is to the ground.
Yes.
But to say that, you can keep on zooming in, and the sun will never set. But where does the sun go after it gets to that point? Does it circle around?
Yeah, it just comes back around, and that's why it comes back the other way.
So what about the 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
So that, I know that was like an experiment that, I even know his name. I even had a conversation with him. Will Duffy, I think. Point being is the experiment he did, in my opinion, was just there as propaganda. So that 24-hour sun in Antarctica, again, it could be real that they filmed that there. At the end of the day, I don't know the exact dimensions of the Earth or the layout or how the sun moves above it. So I don't know that, therefore I couldn't give an explanation for that observation if it was real.
What about also the sun will be at a much shallower point in the sky depending on where you're at on the Earth, right?
Sure, yeah. It's just a distance from you to the sun, I would say.
If you're in like Africa, right above where the sun goes, it'll go right above it.
Yeah.
But if you're in like Europe or whatever, then it's a bit lower down.
Yes.
But also,
I would say it's lower because it's further from you.
But also, you can go to Greenland, you can visit there, and you can see that the sun doesn't rise for 6 months out of the year.
Sure. Yeah.
So why doesn't that happen? Well, it's daylight on the other side of the Antarctica.
Yeah. Again, I don't know the exact layout of the Earth, and I don't know the exact motion of the Earth above it. Therefore, I couldn't answer that question. Why we have certain light here for 6 months and certain light here, no light here for 6 months.
I feel like the round Earth explanation would be because of the tilt of the Earth.
Yeah.
So when, say for example, when it's like this, Antarctica is getting the sunlight.
Yeah.
But then when it's going around like this, because the Earth, it spins, but it maintains shape.
Yeah.
So now over here, Greenland will be getting 24 hours sunlight. That would be, I think that would be the best explanation.
Sure,
on
sure.
On a flat Earth, I wouldn't see how that would work.
Yeah, I completely,
You know what I mean?
I get where you're coming from with this. 100%. I agree with you. Yeah. Yeah. But no, yeah, I definitely came across these questions before. Not the first time, believe it or not. Yeah, I mean, again, the reason why I don't have an answer for you is because I don't have a model of the Earth and the layout of the Earth and exactly how the sun works. But yeah. All right.
You're the one. I can do anything.
Yeah. All right.
You wanna say
Any other questions? Or
well, we're just going to agree to disagree. Of
Fair
course.
enough. Fair
and,
enough.
I just want to let you know there will be people out here who will hate you, try to get you shut down. I disagree with you. I don't want to harm you at all.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I don't have anything personal against you as a person. I really enjoyed the debate.
Fair enough.
You know, you had your good points. I feel like I had my good points, and I just want to shake your hand.
Yeah.
Say great argument.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Stay safe out here.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
campuses, especially in California, I don't want to get political, but in California they can get kind of crazy.
No, yeah, I agree.
You know, so
I mean, look at Kirk, right?
Yeah, so just be safe out here. Okay?
Definitely. No, yeah, appreciate it, man. Yeah, thanks for the chat. Any other questions before you go?
Can we just do like a brief
Yes.
like summary of this effort?
Yes. So the number one proof, again, that debunks the globe, I didn't put it in here because I came across that after. So the number one proof is that gravity is a pushing force.
Wait, when did you make this?
I made this like 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't come across the push of the Earth, the upwards push of the Earth, till like two years ago.
What did you think before that?
Honestly, I didn't really get into the subject, but I assumed the Earth was motionless too. I didn't really get into what's causing objects to accelerate down and all of that. So I didn't really get into it. I would just talk about water.
Okay.
Water being the number one proof.
Okay.
Now, in my opinion, this is the number two proof because obviously gravity being a pushing force, in my opinion, destroys the globe. So again, water level obviously is the first proof. You know, when water is containing at rest, you know, water doesn't do this; it does this. You know, 100% of the time. So water will be the number two proof after the force of the Earth. Again, the horizon.
Yes.
The horizon always horizontal regardless of altitude. Because if the horizon was truly a curve of the Earth, when you're at sea level looking at the horizon and you elevate, the horizon should stay fixed at sea level. And you should start looking down at the horizon eventually when you rise up. So you should look down at the horizon, which nobody ever does. So what happens when you elevate, the horizon just rises in front of you because you're seeing more land in front of you. You're not seeing land below you. So the horizon, obviously, physical impossibility on a globe.
Wait, what if you're like looking up? Like the horizon then comes up to you.
Yeah, but if you're looking level,
Right.
then the horizon will always be in front of you. If you're looking straight ahead. But yeah, if you're looking up, then yeah.
It will. Okay.
Yeah, if you're looking up, the horizon will just stay in front of you.
No, it will go up.
No, I don't think so. No, it's only when you elevate your
Oh, no, you're right.
yeah, when you elevate, then the horizon rises with you.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, that's impossible on a globe, right? That's the second. This proof perspective just kind of shows how people use it because all boats go over the curve, right?
Yeah.
So I just show this perspective that shows that horizons are just limits of perspective. So when something goes over the horizon, it's just going out of our field of view. It's not necessarily a curve, right? People like to use that as a proof. Euclidean geometry, it's all the blueprints that we use here on Earth, engineering, construction, everything. It uses planar geometry, which is a plane geometry. You know, it doesn't take account of curvature. So that's another proof, right? When it comes to physics and pressure, they claim that they can navigate a vacuum of space, even though that's a physical impossibility because everything that has motion here on Earth, like airplanes, they have to push off of the air. Submarines push off of water. Boats push off of water.
You know how like
everything has to push off of something.
What if like a chemical reaction, right? Like it wouldn't be pushing off of anything because it would like make its own force, right?
Yeah, but you still need something to push off of though. Even if you create combustion in an engine, that needs to push off of something else to be able to move forward, I guess. So they claim obviously that the space shuttles can push off of nothing, which is a physical impossibility. And again, the last one is missing curvature. Again, they tell us the radius of the Earth, right? And then when we put it into perspective in actual practice, you know, in reality, that curvature is not there.
What do you mean by that?
So again, the physics of water, when we put the 8 inches per mile squared and we actually go out to measure it, the surface of water of any lake will show that that's always going to be parallel to anything horizontal. So water at the surface, when contained at rest, doesn't bend. It stays still level, horizontal like this. So every lake on Earth shows this, but if it was a globe, they should be doing this, which is impossible for a lake to do in some cases once it's contained at rest. So again, the physics of water, and going back to water, a physical measurement will show there is no curve.
Is this like more measurements?
Yeah, that's the exact, yes. This is using the Pythagorean theorem, which is easy to use. A squared plus b squared equals c squared.
Yes.
And you're able to measure with over 99% accuracy for the first 300 miles. But if you want the exact curvature all around, this is the formula. You have to use a computer program, obviously, to get everything, to get the exact measurements all around.
Okay, but this is all just...
Yeah, this is all, these are the same, you're going to get the same numbers for the first 300 miles for this. But if you want to go further than that, which I don't think is necessary, then you want to use this one.
Okay.
Yeah, but to measure for first 300 miles is very easy. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Anyone can do this.
What happens when you use this formula within the first 300?
It's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing. Right. I just like to use this one because nobody's going to measure more than 300. You know, we only need 3 miles to be fair. 3 to 5 miles. Yeah. But yeah, this is pretty much it. Yeah, this is it.
And then, you're on YouTube?
And that's my channel right there.
Yeah. Oh, actually.
Oh yeah, so this one again, the eye level thing I was telling you.
Yes.
So when you're above a sphere and the horizon's curving down, when you elevate, the horizon should never rise up to your eye level.
Yes.
But it does. You know, this is real footage.
Okay, now, right away, like, this is like, showing me that this footage is manipulated. Or this image is manipulated. Because, like, I don't think clouds look like that normally. So
yeah, if you look...
like, manipulated to be flat.
No. If you look at high altitude footage of airplanes above clouds, it literally looks like that.
Yeah, but this is like, that looks higher.
That's another what?
It looks higher than...
No, this is actual from a video.
From an airplane?
No, a giant helium balloon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, these are giant helium balloons that go up to like, I think the highest they go is like between 20 to 25 miles.
Okay, that's very interesting.
But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you could take this, check it out, and
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Actually, I would like to invite you to my group jogger for I don't know. It's like, I don't know. We like get together and we just kind of talk about interesting stuff.
Fair enough.
I don't remember the address, but maybe I'll do you have an Instagram? I think I can find
I don't have an Instagram. I have a YouTube. I do have
I can put it in the comments or something.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
Yes,
definitely.
I can put the address down in there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, please come to my group jogger.
Okay, appreciate it. And then is it in person or online or what is it?
It would be online, I think.
Online? Okay,
yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Where
are you based, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I live in LA, so I come out here and I go to UCLA and USC. I'm based out of LA.
Making the trip out.
Oh yeah, appreciate it, man.
Very, very insightful.
Yeah, definitely.
Stuff to think about today.
No, yeah, definitely. You should, and I'm glad I was able to give you some sources to look at too, because it's crazy out there. Definitely. All right, man. Appreciate the chat. Appreciate your time.
Yes.
Yeah. Take care, man.
You too.
All right.